Ahoy, crypto pirates! Welcome to your Discourse Syndicate's FN Hangout on a Friday night with me, your Captain RG3. All the cringe, all the old, all the pirate, all the crypto. Here for you. Here for you. For you. For 4 years. For you. To help you understand DeFi, understand Richard Hart's ecosystem, to help you pump your bags, to help you become a community that is a little more than the rest of stupid, ridiculous crypto. Some of you still don't get it. It's obvious. It's obvious. This space is full of some wackadoos. That is for sure. And I'm the guy that runs around wearing a bandana and acting like he's some kind of a crypto pirate. But you guys are the ones that are fucked up. Some of you get it. Some of you, most of you don't. It is Friday night, and this is your show. The link is in the description. The link is on Twitter. The link is in the chat room. While SJ will be putting those links in there for you. If it's not, let me say hello to everybody on this Friday night. Thanks for hanging out with me on a Friday night too, by the way. You know, lonely old man has his friends on Friday nights all the time. That's for sure. And I appreciate that. What's up, Melv Tony? Thank you so much for your service. A good one right there. Melv Tony, one of the goods. Always supporting the show from the beginning. Doesn't have to, but he does. That's how community works. We do things for each other. We put things together. We make things happen. Crypto alert. Join the wrong link. Oh, you're supposed to be in the other show? Scary days, Captain. I don't know. It depends on what you're talking about. I'm sure we'll get into some specifics here. P, hello, beautiful people. Hello, your beautiful self. Bring the next leg up. This bull market. Yeah, let's get this bull market cracking, man. It's just this little stuff is just driving me crazy. RG3, OME. One of my favorites. Hey, thanks. I appreciate that, P. Sandy Beach, my lady. Welcome. Another supporter. Yes. Fly those freaking Jolly Rogers. Fly them. Cabal members of only have your pass at the door. Yes. Make sure you have your Cabal member pass. I think I'm supposed to be one of the Cabal. You're breaking the first rule of the Cabal. Don't talk about the Cabal, right? Glad to be back from multiple vacations. Good for you on multiple vacations. If you were talking about yourself and you have been gone. What's up, Grandpa Pulse? Nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. Oh yeah, and if you're not a Cabal member, skedaddle. Get out of the chat. You shouldn't be watching the stream. This is for members only. These are for those who have been initiated in to the Cabal. What's up, Stylo? What's happening, my dude? I like Stylo. He is off of his rocker. That's what I like about Stylo. He's a misfit among misfits. He's a misfit. He's literally been banished from the unbanishables. I love you, Stylo. You're awesome, man. Brasology. The keeper of the guard of the Cabal itself, Brasology. Grandpa Pulse, welcome. Come on, man. I know you chat with the Tang Gang. What are you talking about? Of course I chat with the Tang Gang. I love the freaking Tang Gang. Tang Gang is freaking awesome. I mean, when are you guys gonna figure out that, you know, when everybody hated Crypto Black Sheep, I was the one who had him on the show all the time. He was just too much. It was just too much, you know. You name it, every one of them. When somebody would come in here into the chat and FUD us and talk shit, I'd give them a ban hammer and say, okay, you think you can do better than everybody in here? You go ahead and you start regulating the chat. And it's changed people's opinions of who we are and what we're doing. You got to embrace everybody, man. Why everybody's fighting with each other, I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. It's crypto, man. It's crypto. You guys all got your fucking head screwed on backwards. You do. I'm telling you. Like, even the people that, oh, you know what? Hold on one second. SJ, would you do me a favor? Would you send no? She's shaking her head no. Would you send my good friend, Danny, the link to the show? I want him to have I want him to have the link. Send it to him. You got his information. Send him the link. Yeah. In TG. Yeah. Oh, you don't have a computer? Oh, watch the chat. Oh, okay. Let me see. Oh my gosh, look at this. I'm here. Yeah. Oh, that's fine. I get that. That's fine. I know who he is, so that's fine. So here's the thing, guys. This is your show. If you don't know how the format works here, we let everybody on the show. We've had to kind of check people every once in a while because we got people show up like doing just
no. Do you want your friend to watch the show, or do you want
just
to
watch the show? Yeah, he's not
to
coming in. No way. He just wants to watch the show.
Thank you very much.
You
All
there
right.
you go.
Carry
just
on,
throw me
sir.
Appreciate it.
Aye,
yeah. So anyway, where was I? What was I talking about? Yeah. Anyway, never mind. It doesn't matter. Hey, David Morales. We need everyone, Tang, 9-inch GIF, and everyone else, especially new money. We definitely need new money, but some of you guys don't understand how this really works. You don't. You really don't. Like, for instance, I've got people that I'm very close to, like in real life, that have been my lifelong friends for 30, 40 years. And they know what I've done. They know. Some of them have gotten into crypto, you know. And I tell them these things. I tell them, look, crypto goes up and dumps 80, 90% in swings, up to the up and down to the down. And you got to be prepared for that. And if you're going to get into this thing, that's what it does. And the funniest thing is that they know that you've been doing it for, I don't know, 10 years plus. And so they expect their entry to be as successful as your entry. Definitely not talking about my boy Mikey here that you saw in the movie. He's not like this. Mikey's solid as they come. He's a diamond-handed bro. He doesn't care if you come at the top or the bottom. He knows what to do at the tops. He knows what to do at the bottoms. Nobody knew it was the top. So screw all you who said I got my boy in at the top. Nobody knew it was the top. You didn't know it was the top. Nobody knew it was the top. Richard didn't call the top. Nobody called the top. So shut the fuck up. So people are like, when they see you do something that's successful and it takes off, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you twist my arm and tell me to put more in? Why didn't you get me in? And if you got in at the top and it goes down, why did you get me in at the top? I want my money back. How do I get my money back? Yeah, you're doing fine. I'm your exit liquidity, huh? Guys, if you can't handle this, freaking get out. Get out. And that's what all this bearish bullshit fighting has been about. Is some of you motherfuckers are wrecked. Some of you motherfuckers are butt hurt. And you want to take it out on the people that you can, especially the people who are doing good and happy about everything that's going on. Really want to pull them motherfuckers down. If you got a bad lot in crypto right now. Guys, this game is ugly. Being a crypto pirate is not for the faint of heart. If you don't know how to sail these seas, if you don't know how to run a ship, if you don't know how to take things on out there and win, this isn't for you. You need to sit back and relax, chill. I mean, you guys literally will watch somebody make fun of people doing good things, and you will help them belittle people who are doing good things. And then you'll cheer them on when they'll do stuff like on live stream, dump on people's heads or tell you how much they just pulled out of the marble jar on top of everybody's heads, and keep following and laugh about it. But you don't realize that that's the problem with this space. Nobody's figured it out yet. Everybody just thinks they're going to go work their thing and their thing's going to do good. Not until everybody gets their heads out of their asses and stops doing the same things over and over and over. For instance, aping into a brand new coin. YOLO, Jeep, FOMO. Richard Hart told us when he launched Hex, he said, don't get in day one. Don't get in day one. What happens is these things, moon, boom, they dump on you. You end up getting in at a horrible rate. Wait a little while. Let it cool down. Let it come down to where it's supposed to be. Because everything that goes up must come down. And if it gets heated too fast, it's got to come down a little bit. It's got to correct. Because remember, these people that come in don't have the right mindset going on. They want to make a quick buck. They want to grab that X. They want to dump on your heads and pull the marbles out of your freaking marble jar. That's what they want to do. And then the people who do the right things, the people who sweat, and build, and work, and talk, and help, and make things, and continue to do stuff for the community, and continue to put their value into the community, whether it's monetary or their sweat equity or just their voice or their support in one way, shape, or fashion. That's not looked upon as virtuous or values. Number go up is anything anybody looks at around here. That's what Richard said. Most important thing in crypto is number. That's the only thing people care about. And that's truth. That's the truth. You know, I didn't make it in crypto YOLOing into shit. I got my ass busted up doing that. Richard taught me tenants. He taught me about delayed gratification. And what it made me think about was my father-in-law. So I didn't have a family that taught finances at all. We were broke, poor, and lived in the ghetto. But I married into a good family, and my father-in-law taught me how to invest, stock market, savings accounts, all these things. You know, the old traditional stuff. He's connected with Warren Buffett's family and stuff, so he knew a lot about these things and did well. And so I started to learn about real investing, and I didn't see that over here in crypto. But when Richard came along, I said, well, now we have tools that mimic that type of a market, a sustainable, mature, reasonable market. And I know that's not what goes on here in crypto. But Richard tried to give everybody that and tried to save everybody from themselves. And cheating and YOLO and into all this bullshit out there. And a lot of people didn't listen. They still listen today. Look at the staking. Look what's going on. In fact, I've got Hexicans coming to me and telling me I'm a problem because I was telling people about 5-5-5-5 stakes. Hexicans. Term I coined. Hexicans. Call themselves Hexicans because of me. And they come at me saying that my narrative has changed. No, it hasn't. I still think that Hex is the GOAT. I still think that if you're out there doing the right things and you're trying to dollar cost yourself into a staking ladder, then you're starting at 15 years and working your way back. If you're trying to set yourself a retirement plan and put a CD type staking ladder together, then you're going to go out a certain amount of years. You're going to look at yourself and see where you need to be and what you need to do according to your risk tolerance and your time horizons. All these things are still fucking grounded in, still solid. I still think that this community needs to come together. I still think that we need to keep doing things, whether they fail or succeed, whether it's a YouTube channel or a convention or an online convention or a movie, a product that sits outside in the real world somewhere, an on-ramp. All these things. This is what I'm trying to get people to do. I want you guys to go out and build and be good to each other and do this stuff. But instead, we still act like we still haven't lost our old behaviors. We got to cheat into shit and create pandemonium and chaos everywhere we go and dump on people's heads and think it's funny. Do it live on stream, shit like that. It's funny, man. It really is. That's the space. That's what we got. It's not the crypto you want, but the crypto you deserve. It's the crypto you all deserve. We deserve it. Because nobody listens to sanity. Nobody listens to reason. Nobody respects people with wisdom anymore. It's frowned upon. It's ridiculed. And it's a shame because generation after generation after generation of not listening to wisdom and not remembering your past is going to get you nowhere and get you in trouble. If you toss out all the old folks that are trying to tell you things, you're lost in the fucking forest. You're out at sea with no sails. Your little crypto game. All right, let's say we're gonna jump into. We've got a lot of guests coming in. I'm gonna bring them up. Should be some of the cabal coming in. And everybody's asked who done it. No, I'm just saying that those are the types of things that people are interested in, watching people do stuff like that and laugh about it. Like Is that what we're supposed to do? Jump in this stuff, buy and sell on each other's heads? Is that what is that the products that we're putting out there? You know, I understand the meme culture. I understand the value in the projects and the things that they do, and the little bit of marketing that they bring to us. Because this isn't going to bring in the masses. I'm sorry. It's going to make all the crypto bros happy and get them all excited if you can jeet into something that's going to go up for a little bit. But what happens every time? Goes up, comes down, goes away. Next new thing, next new thing, next JPEG, next meme coin. Fuck you. Like these things really matter deeply. It's the systems behind them. It's the processes that you use behind those meme tokens and those JPEGs. That's what matters, and how you utilize them. How do you provide liquidity? How do you turn this thing into a money-making machine? How do you have perpetual income? How do you do those kinds of things? And being serious about those. Those are the things that if you listen closely to some of these people that everybody are saying are being jackasses or whatever, even the Tang gang, listen closely to what they're really saying, what they're really doing. There's more to it than they're just memes and bad attitudes. There's a lot more. Same with all these other projects that are out there trying to make things happen. And people are bashing them, calling them scammers and all this other stuff. I'm going to keep nailing this point home, because you know what? This is the community that I helped bring from the fucking ground up. And I care about it. And I care about everyone in it. And I want everybody to have a good experience and everybody to bring the best out of themselves. And I know that a lot of the streamers never talk about this stuff. You know, they've got charts and they've got the meme of the day. They do all these other things. They poke fun at me, poke fun at others for trying to do things good. But they don't really sit down and talk to you guys heart to heart about what's really going on and how you should really be acting in this space. That's what I try to do. So anyway, now that I've lost everybody that was in the green room, except for one, I'm going to bring him up and let everybody start talking. You still there? You going to turn your camera on, or you want to stay off there, Bugs? Let's see. I'll bring him up anyway. Hey, Bugs, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi. How you doing? Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's been a crazy ride today, man. Starting from yesterday.
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Well, me and Elite have been talking. Obviously, GIF. The 4 letters, GIF. We're just hanging on at the moment, seeing what's going to happen. You know, just one of those things. It went up so high, like you said, and then now it's correcting itself.
Of course,
you know?
That's
a lot of people screaming, kicking and shouting and moaning about it, and you know, it's just negativity, isn't it?
No, it's not negativity. It's they make a mistake. You know, people make mistakes, and in this space, people get loaded off of the euphoria of things, you know, pumping like that.
Yeah.
And come on. I mean, come on. It's like you think something's just gonna go up and go up and up and up and up and up forever. I mean, up into the up is one thing, but down into the down is another thing. And they all do this, and they all correct, and they all but for instance, look at Hex. Look what Hex did. Hex went up to 56 cents. Is Hex any less valuable today than it was then? No, it's not. You know, it's the market sentiment. It's what people have decided to do by dumping it. We've literally got people getting hacked, or, you know, supposedly hacked. I don't know. Just about every week now. And I'm talking big bags, and they're getting liquidated and sent to the shredder. So, I mean, you've got a lot of externalities. You've got a lot of things coming at all of these cryptos sideways, and you've got market sentiment. And we are in the bottom of a bear market. Kind of. I guess we're supposed to be pulling out of it, but not in this ecosystem right now. We're not pulling out of it. And I think it's because Hexicans have their heads buried up their own asses. I really do. I think that, you know, people that are just sitting there, you don't realize that you've got to go do something instead of fighting with each other. And instead of, you know, doing stupid shit, go out and promote what we've got that's good. Go out and do something yourself. Build on what you have. You know, those are the things that are going to bring attention to what we're doing here.
Yeah, I think GIF is interesting. You know, they have good technology. The developers are good. I've been in it for a while now. It's long story short, but someone brought me into it, and the way they brought me into it wasn't it was untowards. It wasn't very good the way they did it. They kind of lied to me in the beginning. So I G'd it out. You'll hear some guys talking about it on their streams. I G'd it out, and then I thought about it for a little while. I spoke to somebody, and I got straight back in, and I've been in ever since. And I've just rode it up to the top. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to cheat this time. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to hold. I'm going to hold. So I've held, and I'm sitting here today and yesterday, and I'm watching the roller coaster transpire in front of my eyes. You know, and it's just crazy. It's a ride. You know, it's one of those things. It's gonna play out where it's gonna play out. I think we're gonna be good, but there's a lot of people right now that are just panicking. You know, that thing went up so quick. You know, it just broke.
Well, I mean, if you look at the hex chart did the same thing. In the first day, it went nuts. Now, why? Because you've got a lot of people, a lot of valuable people, a lot of smart people that said, hey, this thing looks good, looks like it's going to be real good. And gosh, man, it's really going to be a good crypto. And so it did that, boom, and then slam right back down, you know, and that's because crypto is full of people who they just don't give a shit. They want in and out. They want to make that buck. And that's not how these things work. It's really not.
Yeah. And they tell you they're in and they're out. Yeah. They tell you they're still in and they're already out.
Let me pull somebody out. Hold on one second. Crypto Lit, what's up? We got you now.
Hello, folks.
What's happening?
How you doing?
How you doing? Hey, Books. No, that was an insane run in GIF, huh?
Yeah, I think there's more to come. There's plenty more to come. With a strong stomach. You have to have a strong stomach.
Hey, RG3, nice to meet.
Nice to meet you. Now, are you the lit from the GIF chat room?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, all right. One of the mods in the GIF chat room. This is Crypto Lit, everybody. I didn't know it was going to be. Well, I guess I should have known that there was going to be a lot of people from GIF coming over here. But I try to tell people, you know, what happens in these situations. You know, we even trying to stop that from happening doesn't stop doesn't stop people from, you know, doing what they do. You know, this was a stealth launch. I didn't talk about it. We didn't shill it. We didn't tell people it was going to do anything super special. We just tried to explain to people how it works. And that was it. And we let word of mouth kind of just get out there and let it do its own thing versus, you know, in hopes that it wouldn't do what it did, which was go absolutely nuts. I'm excited the fact that it works. I'm excited about the fact that all of the concepts and tenets and pillars that we built into this, all the things that we talked about for months and months, all the things that we wanted it to do, all the holes we wanted it to plug in the leaky ships out there, of the good things that we're seeing, the good things that were done, and then put some twists on them and make them better, work. They work, and we've watched them work. So that's been extremely bullish on my half. Now, the run up, a little, my doubts as it was running up, going, oh boy, here we go, you know. And of course, it's euphoric no matter what, no matter how many times you've seen it, no matter how you know it's going to turn out, it's always euphoric. It's really good to see green candles, especially when you've been walking in the fucking desert for 3 years with no green candles. So hold on, we got one more coming. True Moxie, what's happening, bud?
What up?
Good to see you, bro.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good to see you. What's going on?
Oh, just watching sitting in the gift chat, watching everybody freak out over a little dip.
A little dip? You're sending me a little dip. That ain't a little dip. That's
Yeah,
fucking brutal.
that
What
was
is
a
that
really
at?
that was a real. People became millionaires and became poor again in seconds.
Yeah, yeah,
Welcome to
yeah.
crypto. Welcome to crypto.
That's all part of the game.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
but you guys, a lot of people, they see the green candles going up and they start seeing their bags fill up. And first of all, you don't realize that there are sharks waiting for the fat guppies to come swimming by and suck up that value. And
Yep.
they also don't realize that your bags really are only as big as the liquidity on the exchange and the slippage that is involved in that. So it's not real. It's a false sense of ownership, security, hope. You've got to sit back and look at reality and go, well, if I look at this chart, where should a new crypto really be starting and moving at? Even a good one. Where would it be? And if it's up here somewhere, then hey, it's out of its parameters. Now, a lot of people take advantage of that and dump it. And a lot of people have. And like I said, some people even went on stream and did it live in front of you, or told you anyway. So you've got to understand that that's part of the game, guys.
Yeah.
Remember, it's a jar of marbles. And every time somebody buys some of these cryptos, you put your marble in. Now, when that jar starts getting full and it starts growing to the top, sometimes the person that put a marble in will reach in and grab a handful or 2 handfuls. And then there's no marbles for everybody else. Now, that's life. We can't change that. That behavior is what it is. So you have to be aware that it exists and watch these things when they do stuff like this. Every single crypto that has done something like this has ended up in the same place. Now, how many times does that have to happen before people quit going, oh, what happened? Really? Really? Something went straight up and you wonder why it came down. Are you absolutely kidding me? That has happened to everything. Everything under, oh my gosh. People, please, please, please screw your heads on straight. Realize what you're in here. Look at liquidity. Look at coins launching. Look at hype. Look at code. Look at what's being built. Look at things that are doing good stuff. Get involved and do the right thing for yourself. And be careful and understand and no risk tolerance. And then when it doesn't go your way, shut the fuck up and take it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm still good. Like I said, I got in early enough, but we'll see where it travels to next,
Yeah, yeah. I want to put this up. Oh, let's see. Is this a rug? Was asked in the chat. The Mo is one of the. Is this a rug? No. A rug goes straight down, and yeah, and the big bag holders are the ones that dump, not the few that got in and got out and liquidated themselves. No, that's not what a rug is. Now, you got people that got out, and are going to buy back in once it starts bottoming again. So they play that game. You guys, do you understand that when somebody does get in and do this, it's a Venturi effect. I don't know if you know what a Venturi effect is, but it's when you get a lot of momentum going like through a small area. It's a bifurcated area. So you get a Venturi effect, meaning even when the volume is filled on the other side, you've got so much pressure coming from the other side that it continues to fill. So what happens is these charts fill, and they fill so hard.
Blows the gasket.
That Well, it doesn't actually, what happens is it's so high that these guys that got in down here have watched that Venturi fill up, and then they suck the energy out. Boom, a release valve, like you said, blow up the release. And then wham, it comes down. And what happens is the Venturi effect goes the opposite direction. I mean, it starts coming down just as fast as it went up because everybody starts getting fear. Everybody starts doing the whole lemming thing like they did when it went up. They do it when it goes down. And when it does that, those guys have made a percentage going up. And then when it goes down the bottom and they rebuy, they made a percentage at the bottom. It's nothing new under the sun. They've been doing this in the stock market forever. They've been doing this in crypto forever. Every 4 years, some kind of new institution comes in, brings big money in, and then sucks it out. Every 4 years, they do it. And nobody calls it out. I don't see anybody talking about it. Trillions of dollars of market cap grow in this space with money coming in. And then all of a sudden it escapes and exits after a certain period of time. And then boom, it's a desert again. And there are people that won, and it was the people that manipulated people into jumping in and manipulated people into jumping out that make the money. And you don't want to be one of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Well, I understand that, and it's true what you're saying. So all you can do now is hold. That's pretty much it. You know, you're gonna hold it now and just chill, and just like you said, just relax, breathe. You know, that's it.
Yeah, it's
See
gonna
how
be
long it takes. We'll see how long it takes for the protocol to kick in and for it to pick itself back up. If it actually does what it says it does, we'll see. It's going to be a good proof now, right?
Well, I mean, I don't like to talk about specifics like this to me, this launch of GIF and PGIF, it was just another crypto to me. Yes, I was involved. Yes, I'm part of the team that put it together, and that's why I trust it so much, because I know who they are. They're my friends, they're my family, they're people that I've been with for the last 4 years, and people that I think are brilliant and I trust, and I got involved. And they also built it under the auspices of Richard Hart's tenets, principles, values, morals, crypto ethics. So that's the only reason I got involved with it. That's the only reason I've even talked about it. But I really don't care about where it's at, where its price is at. I'm just glad it's here. I'm glad it's doing what it's doing. I'm glad it's working.
That's it.
Because
you think PulseChain's going to come out and have the same effect?
What's that?
You think PulseChain's going to come out and have the same effect?
Well, see, that's a different animal. Pulsar, for those of you who don't know, so let me explain to everybody real quick about GIF and PGIF and what it is. It's not just some meme coin. It's not just some coin. It's not just a switcheroo. It's not just a secular Ponzi or anything. What it is it is a coin that you inject. We made a meme coin called GIF and left it out there for a long time, just sitting there floating. And then we created a front end, a smart contract that takes the GIF and the pulse, and you inject 10 pulse per GIF into the system, 10-to-1 ratio. And when it goes into the system, the GIF is burned, sent to the dead address. I'm sorry, it's sent to the dead address. And then the PGIF, the PGIF is spit out on the other side, 1-to-1. So 10 pulse to mint the PGIF, and it comes out 1-to-1. So every GIF you put in, you get a PGIF. GIF goes to the dead address, which means it's burnt, it's out of existence, but it's like in a locked up OA. It'll never see the light of day. But it's still circulating supply, so it helps the market cap, and it doesn't burn that token just in case. It's not a negative externality if it completely burns for maybe some projects. But anyway, we're talking to other projects and doing it on the projects that require to want it. So anyway, so the 10 pulse that go into the system go to the market, go to Pateas, and on Pateas they order route the most efficient on the PulseChain. So it goes to Pateas and it buys PGIF, the coin you just minted. It buys it off the market. Therefore, run the price up. And then it burns that completely. It's out of existence. It's deflationary, completely deflationary. So both of those tokens, GIF and PGIF, become deflationary. There is only a set amount of GIF. So it's really all becoming deflationary because you can only mint PGIF with GIF. So as that deflates, then, PGIF becomes more rare too. So they both help each other out that way. And then there's an arbitrage opportunity. So it's really an ARB mechanism. For those of you who are traders and you want to know how to push buttons, look at charts and make gains every day for a little bit every day, what you do is you watch the arbitrage opportunity. If PGIF is more than 10 pulse in value higher than GIF, then you have an opportunity to sell your PGIF for pulse and get more GIF than you had. Mint process again, you end up with more tokens. And that's the game, is getting more tokens. So it's an arbitrage opportunity. Now, if it goes the other way, where PGIF becomes cheaper than GIF, then you have an arbitrage opportunity by buying PGIF off the market, therefore increasing the price, increasing your bag size, because now the PGIF is mintable or sellable and mintable for more GIF. So it's a ARB opportunity that kind of seesaws itself and helps self-regulate itself. Now, nothing is immune to big sells, big market dumps. Nothing's immune to that. So I think you're going to see, GIF do its thing, continue to do its thing. People are going to not understand the value of PGIF, and they're going to buy GIF instead of buying PGIF off the market. All of you guys who are market buying PGIF, that's the play. That's the play, is if it's cheaper than GIF, which it has been for a long time, then that's the play, is to buy PGIF and then arbitrage it. So no matter what with this token, if it's down or up, you've got an arbitrage opportunity and a way to make money off of the system, or make tokens off of the system, which, becomes more value. And that in and of itself is what keeps the system moving, is that arbitrage opportunity and everything that is built around it. I think it's a brilliant system. It's built well. It's operating and functioning properly. There has been no hiccups. I think we had a couple of website mishaps. We had a hacker come in and do something with one of the links one time. But that was quickly fixed and there was no problems. But yeah, I'm just excited that it's working. It's working as well as we expected it to. And the market stuff, I could care less about, whether it pumps or dumps or whatever. I'm not privy to that mess. I know some people are, and I'm sorry if you got yourself into a spot like that. But all you got to do is just sit back and hold if you bought high. And if you bought low, if you want to take profits on everybody's head, that's your prerogative. You go right on ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's going to be interesting to see what Gifford is gonna add upon it. He has been speaking with that lately as well. So
what I didn't. I'm sorry. You know what I didn't do is I didn't answer your question about Pulsar and what I thought Pulsar would do. I'm sorry I had to explain the whole thing about GIF before that, but Pulsar is the same system, but it's going to be built on Titanex. And what it's going to do is, I call it, I don't think people like the name of it, but we're going to pirate the value of Titanex and bring it over to PulseChain. That's what it's going to do. So it's going to do the same thing, but we're going to bring the Titanex value and through the GIF system and bring it over to PulseChain. So we're taking value from Ethereum and bringing it over to PulseChain. Not necessarily value from Titanex, but the value of Titanex over to PulseChain. And that's going to be, helpful for the people who are in Titanex or have Titanex that they want to kind of revitalize or, move through the system. You'll be able to bring it over to PulseChain. And that's what we're doing with that one.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be truly interesting. I was always wondering whether Pulsar could be connected to GIF in some way. It's speculation, but I was thinking of a way if it was possible.
You were thinking what was possible now?
I was thinking whether they were going to do something to connect Pulsar to GIF itself in a way, but I don't know if it's possible.
Well, the iBurn protocol is connected to GIF by creating another buy and burn. So instead of the same value that's going into the PGIF protocol as far as the buy and burn goes, 15%, so 85% of the pulse that's going in for iBurn is going to go buy and burn the iBurn. And 15% of that is going to come back over to buy and burn PGIF. So the PGIF buy and burn is always going to be ratioing every time a new protocol comes out.
Yeah, that's correct. And you can add more coins up on it, and in some way loop it so it keeps on feeding the same system over and over. So it's a quite interesting experiment. We'll have to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in for the ride. I've got it pretty
me
early
too.
as
I'm
well.
excited, man. I'm excited.
I went up a lot. I dumped a lot. I've had amounts that I never had before. I saw it fly away as well, but I'm holding strong. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, exactly the same for me. Exactly the same. I'm not sure about the amounts, but yeah, it's exactly the same for me. I went up high, went down. We'll see where it levels out, and we'll see where we get the new people coming in, and we'll see what the next pump's going to look like. You know, only time will tell. It's going to be very interesting. But I do tell you this last 3 or 4 days has been crazy. It's been exciting. It's been immense. You know, but like you say, what comes up must come down. You know, it went up way too quick. It broke sound barriers, man. It was just like, it was crazy. It almost broke the speed of light. You know, it was mental. So we should have obviously expected it to come down. Just the way it came down was as quick as it went up, like you said. So everyone just needs to hold tight now, have a bit of patience, keep their steel balls, and just wait it out, you know? Or like you said, if they want to dump on people's head, it's up to them.
Yeah, exactly. Let me clear something up here. And maybe I get the Plumber Speaks question right. I think what he's saying, he says, I don't understand buy and burn concept either. Is that where a portion of your purchase gets destroyed, lowering the overall supply? No, no, no. So what happens is it's injected into the system as pulse. So you put 10 pulse for every GIF that you put in. One GIF makes one PGIF. Now there's 2 burn functions. The GIF that you put in is sent to the dead address, which is technically a burn because it never can be seen or used again. However, it still exists as circulating supply. So think of the burn of GIF as being sent to an OA that doesn't ever move the coins. The pulse that goes in goes to the exchange. The GIF that you burned that went to the dead address created the brand new PGIF, 1 for 1. So every 1 GIF you put in, you're going to get 1 PGIF out the other side. That goes in your wallet. The pulse that went into the system, you've spent it. It goes into the system. It's like sticking it in a vending machine. That vending machine takes that pulse and goes to the Pateus marketplace, which is the most efficient order routing system on PulseChain, and buys PGIF, the coin you just minted, buys it off the market. So when it buys it, it creates buy pressure. It creates number go up. So the fact of you actually injecting into the system, you are putting more value into the token that you just minted. So it's token creation, not an airdrop, not an ICO, not any of that stuff. It is token creation. It's not a fair launch. It's not any of those other things. You're actually creating a token with value. You're burning one token and creating another. And then that pulse is going into the exchange and buying the token that you just minted, therefore making it more valuable. And then it takes that supply that it bought and burns it completely. Again, making scarcity, making your token more valuable. So lots of positive externalities going on here for you to mint. So minting is a positive for the whole system. Minting is a positive for you because when there is an arbitrage opportunity, meaning when pulse is more than 10 GIF, then you can sell your pulse is more than PGIF, I mean, when your GIF is worth 10 more plus 10 more pulse than your PGIF, I get confused. Sorry, guys. But when the PGIF is 10 plus more than your GIF, then you can arbitrage by selling it for more pulse, getting more GIF. So it's a loop. It's a loop. And if the price of PGIF goes below GIF, then you can buy GIF on the market, therefore creating the loop and arbitraging it basically the opposite way. So it's kind of like, it's like a seesaw. Kool-Aid's been telling me this for years about the seesaw effect. You get these systems going back and forth, people pushing the button, activity makes these things go, makes these things continue to pump. So as people were buying and minting and doing these things and creating a positive externality on prices, every time the price would go up from people just jeeting in and buying, there was lots of arbitrage opportunities. So there were a lot of people in there spinning this mint loop around and making a lot of extra coins. And therefore the value was just going up and up and up. So the fact that it moved up so fast is telling me that the system was working. Now, people weren't utilizing it correctly. They were jeeting in. They were creating a more false sense of value than there was, and they were just kind of hyper extending the process of the machine here by doing so. The more energy that goes into it, the higher it hit pumps, and that proved itself. And so of course now when people sell out of it and don't know how to move in and out of it, it has the opposite effect, and that's what you're seeing there. And it's people not using the positive externalities now, which are PGIF has been a lot cheaper than GIF lately. So like literally buying PGIF off of the market has been the move. And some people are seeing it and a lot of people aren't.
Yeah, I just need to go back to like 2 or 3 days ago. We're pretty much back where we were then. So, it's not like the end of the world, is it? You just need to figure out now how long it's going to take to get all these people out that are trying to dump it. That's the key. It's like a game of chess, isn't it?
They'll come and go. They'll come and go. Hey, the dev himself, man, this guy here, what a badass. GIF says Pulsar will be launched on Ethereum and bridged to PulseChain and to set an infrastructure layer. And that's kind of the difficulty layer of what the devs are dealing with now, is they're working on the bridging, because literally we're bridging the value from Ethereum. It's going to be built on Ethereum, and then the value is going to be brought over the bridge through bridging through the contract. Hey, we got one of the Tang gangers. Oh wait, is he coming in? Oh, he accidentally got knocked off. Cool. I hope he comes in. So yeah, so I hope that explained last gentleman's question. Let me see, crypto is so when you burn, let me read this one real quick. So when you burn each GIF to mint her opposing one, are you then minting brand new GIF of the one you're burning the other one for? Yes, it's called PGIF. So what you do is you burn the GIF to get the PGIF. So it's 1-to-1. Limited supply GIF, limited supply PGIF. Deflationary, because of the system, they're deflationary. So that means continuously going down. And if you look at the debt address, there's over 10% has already been burned by just this protocol alone. So 10% of the PGIF is already out of existence. I think it's even higher than that already. Hold on a second. Let me bring up my Tang Gang buddy here. Ladies and gentlemen, Too Spooky. What's up, dude?
What's going on?
What are you doing? What are you doing scumming around over here, man?
I got told that there was an invite link in the Telegram. It got sent to us, and I just set up my computer. I've been on the computer for like maybe an hour now, so I know how to set up.
Oh, you got a real computer now.
Finally, yeah, after like 15 years.
Dude, if you guys think that Spooky's been doing cool shit on his phone, wait till you see what he does on a computer.
Yeah, I got to figure everything out. It's very foreign to me, but I've been doing everything from my phone. So
let me bring up we got another guest. Death to Jeets, man. This is like a whole new crew coming in here. What's up, dude? Oh, he darked it out. Are we going to get a porn show now or what?
We need someone like that in the gift chat.
Jeets? What's up, Jeets?
No one tell Katie I was here. I was supposed to stream with her after I got a computer.
Oh shit. Oh
Oh,
shit.
shit.
She's gonna get mad at me.
So what are you up to, Spooky? What's going on?
Literally just trying to figure all this out. This is all new to me. I just installed Telegram, and people are telling me to download this, install that, get used to that. I have to get Photoshop and all that cool Adobe stuff.
Nice. Nice.
What's
So now
going
you're
on
gonna
in here?
be spitting them out then, right?
I'm gonna try. We'll see how it goes. I'm used to using PixArt on my phone, so it's gonna be
I
something
can't
big.
believe you've done all this shit on your phone, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what else was I supposed to do? I was like, a long time ago, I decided to get rid of cable, and then when the laptop I had eventually clonked out on me, I'm like, I'm not gonna get another computer. Everything's on my phone now. I can do everything I want. I got social media, like any tool that I need was on my phone because I wasn't doing crypto back then. But I guess I got to keep up with the times.
Yeah. Well, good to have you, man. Let me. We got another question here that's pretty interesting. So, Plumber Speaks asking some good stuff. I'm trying to figure this out. So, the TG room is where you're going to get the best answers if you go to Gifford Ware and start asking questions there. Those guys are brilliant. We've got Elit in there. We've got Mo in there. Those guys, Larry's in there. They're all hooking you up and telling you what's going on. But let me answer this. So what's the function of making a transaction to you if it's just one-for-one transaction, just making busy work of the network? So I don't think you heard the arbitrage opportunity that's involved there by doing so. So when you go from one into the other, or you even own one of them, you've created yourself an arbitrage machine, meaning because you put one GIF and 10 pulse into the system and pushed one PGIF out, that PGIF is automatically worth 10 more pulse than the GIF that you burnt and put into the system. When the price of PGIF, the one that you just minted, goes above 10 pulse more than the GIF that you put in, think about it. If you sell that one PGIF for 15 pulse, you come back around and buy the GIF that is only 10 pulse. Now you got 1.5 GIF for the one GIF that you moved in and spat out and moved back around. And now you can do it all over again, over and over until you start growing your GIF and PGIF bags exponentially by doing this ARB opportunity. Now that the ARB moves, you got to watch it. And if it goes below, if PGIF goes below the 10 pulse threshold, which it's been at for a long time, you can go on the market and do it the opposite way. I don't think a lot of people understand that now you buy the pulse, the PGIF off the market for cheaper than the GIF that you can go and mint another PGIF for. You see what I'm saying? It's an ARB opportunity is what it is. Now, so some of you can just get some GIF, hold it and watch it do what it does. Or you can play the arbitrage game and moving it around that way. And by doing so, by participating in the system, that moves it all up. Now, here's the extra value add. This is a white label product, basically meaning that we are going to put it on other protocols. For instance, ICOSA. ICOSA now creates iBurn. eICOSA and PICOSA do the same thing at a 1500 to 1 ratio pulse to E or P ICOSA. Now, there was an arbitrage opportunity at the beginning, and there still is, because eICOSA and PICOSA, they're different prices. So you can go into one that's the cheaper one and mint your iBurn for the same that you could have minted to the more expensive one. So that's what happened. If you guys watched when we launched iBurn, ICOSA started moving. That had been dormant for a while, waiting for itself to be, moved over to a different system or whatever. And they started finding parity with one another because of the system that was put into place. It's pumps and levers moving it up and down to keep the arbitrage, just keeping those two coins close, and iBurn too. Now, here's the beautiful part about this whole system is that all of these protocols that are being built are going to also, the buy and burn function is going to be 15% of it is going to be added to PGIF. So PGIF is going to become rarer and rarer and rarer and rarer and rarer as time goes on, because all these protocols are going to be feeding into the buy and burn of PGIF. So that's that's kind of the gameplay at this point. There's a lot more coming. There's a lot more things that are going to be changed as far as how these things affect one another. We still have yet to see. But one of the positive things is that EICOSA and PICOSA have started to find parity with one another, and they're starting to move. We'll look at the charts. So, yeah, I hope I made that clear to you. And on top of all of the other positive externalities that we talked about, this token providing, is that because they're all tied to one another, because now Pulse and GIF and PGIF are all tied together, it's another kind of bonding. It's not when they're in an LP pool, Hart's law says, you bond these tokens together and they move up together. This system and the way it's built also creates another type of bonding, not just from the LP that's being created out there with these tokens, which we're already seeing that, but the bonding of the ratios of all the coins burning and buying and burning and being ratioed with each other. So there's a whole nother level of bonding that's going on here. So it's a positive for the whole ecosystem. All these coins being bonded together this way, kind of what all the other tokens are trying to do with liquidity. This helps kind of turbocharge it. So I hope that explained to you, Plumber, as to my reasoning why. Let's see. We've got another question. Okay. So it's a mechanism to make people buy more because they always buy on the way up. Counterintuitive to best practices in investing. Buy low, sell high. Buy low, sell high is not a best practice. Nobody does that. They claim they do, but nobody ever knows when real lows are and real highs are. And the people that claim they do end up getting wrecked half the time. So I don't know what that means, but no, it's a mechanism of arbitrage. It's a mechanism of bonding, and it's a mechanism of creating scarcity and helping tokens to move in the right direction. That's the mechanism it is. It's not a buy low and sell high kind of thing to get people to get involved. No, it's a positive reinforcement to get involved. Arbitrage is a positive reinforcement. Arbitrage is better than trading. If you go in and you trade hoping buy low and sell high, arbitrage is a different game. Arbitrage is, hey, I bought this and it's worth more than that, and I can get more of that now. Boom. That's what you do. That's arbitrage. Hey, I bought something and it's really worth a lot more of this, so I can sell it for this. And bam, now you have more value in your pocket by buying something that was cheaper than the thing that you traded it for. That's arbitrage. And it's nothing new under the sun. Arbitrage has been around forever, guys. It's in the stock market. It's in Forex trading. It's been out there forever. This isn't anything new. So read his previous comment.
Yeah, can I chime in on that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, ARB is very important. It's something I've talked about quite a bit on here for trying to get some of these tokens to parity. If you really want to incentivize people coming to PulseChain, you're going to want to create some E token, P token pairs so that if you do have something that's, running on the PulseChain side, you create that ARB opportunity. And like no one is dumb enough to miss out on an ARB opportunity, even if it's cross-chain. So it's one of the things that I am looking into, and I wish other people were doing it more, because in order to create a good ARB opportunity, you have to have some capital in an LP. But ARB is very juicy. We've had a couple of people try to ARB cream already, not realizing that you can't just bridge over E cream and sell it for P cream. But I've seen a couple transactions where people were like, ooh, let me bridge in over some cream. And they learned that it doesn't work that way. But if you had an LP with E cream and P cream or anything else that was running on PulseChain, you'll definitely incentivize people trying to capitalize on the ARB.
Well, and that's what we're going to do with Pulsar. It's going to take the Titanx protocol and bring it over, the value over into PulseChain, and create that same ARB type of loop. So it's kind of like the first cross-chain version of this protocol from ETH to PulseChain.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. The other tokens, I don't know how to pronounce them right. Is it GIF?
Yeah, GIF and
GIF.
PGIF. Yeah,
Yeah, they
it's the dev GIF Gifford. He's the guy that created it, and that's his handle. So that was Gifford Ware is his protocols.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's been running the last couple of days here. It's definitely interesting to see.
Yeah. So Plumber, did you get that? Did you understand what we're talking about arbitrage now? Let's see. I'm a little behind on the chat here. Bunch of buying and selling of different coins to pump the price of all of them. When do you get to exit into currency that you can actually spend in real life? Dude, how long have you been in crypto? I mean, that's all of us are. He said, when do you get to exit into a currency that you can actually spend in real life without being accused? Dude, that's crypto, man. We're all just making more crypto here. If you put money value on them, fine, great. That's it. But we're all just trying to figure out how to make more crypto here. And no, nobody's dumping on anybody. Yeah, people are dumping because that's behavior. That's behavior. That has nothing to do with the protocol or what it's supposed to do, or if people are using it properly, what it's supposed to do. It's an arbitrage opportunity machine is what it is. And if you don't understand arbitrage, I think I've explained it a few times. It's basically trading one thing for another thing that is more valuable, but you're taking that thing and getting more value because you bought it for less. That's basically what it is. You're getting a bargain on something that was supposed to cost more, but it has higher value. So you buy it at a discount and you're bringing it home and you've got it now and it's worth more now that it's in your pocket, or you've brought it cross chain, or you've moved it into another coin where now it has more value. It's number go up, but through purchasing power versus waiting for other people to buy the value up. You're using your purchasing power. Let's see, what else are they asking? Free Roger Ver. Yeah, man, they got him in that jail where they killed John, I think. Well, I don't know if they killed him, where he unlived himself, I guess. That's what they're saying. Yeah, I would love to see GIF on some Tangang coins. I said, yeah, I would too. I'd love to see it on some of them. But it depends on what the communities want, and what's not all coins are going to benefit from this. I think that burning coins with limited supply that have intrinsic value, they have processes that they provide or whatever, it's not going to work. Why would you burn something that has value that way, just to create extra value? I think it's a good mechanism for coins that inflate. It's a good inflation valve, pressure valve or whatever, helps with inflation, and can also, help get other tokens kickstarted that may have been dormant for a little bit and need a little pumping, or you've got two coins that of value that need to find parity. That's where this really works.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. A lot of people they see burning as like a bullish tokenomic. I don't really think it is inherently, because all that happens, let's say hypothetically, I've said this a lot of times in the past, hypothetically speaking, if you have a token that's being pumped from some burning mechanism, all it really does is pump the price to where people take profits. Psychologically, people take profits wherever they're comfortable. So if you get there faster, that just means they dump faster. But then if you have something that's inflationary, which usually inflation is a negative externality of a token, if you can counter that inflationary aspect, you actually make the price more stable. And when that inflation is being used as a reward, it essentially makes the reward more rewarding. So I like burns on inflationary tokens.
Yeah, it's the team is focused on being really sure of what tokens are going to bring it to, and always make sure that we're reaching out to the communities and getting as much information as possible to what needs to be bought and burned and whether or not it's going to help or not, and not just going to willy-nilly just go start throwing cryptos in there. It's going to be discussed and not taken lightly and used as a protocol that increases the value and the worth of whatever crypto it's going to be sent to. Let's read this one here. Will Pulsar be connected at a certain level with Titanx? It is absolutely connected to Titanx. You're going to burn Titanx to create Pulsar, and Pulsar is going to exist. You're going to do it on Ethereum, and then Pulsar is going to exist on the PulseChain, and the bridging and order routing and all that is going to be done by the contract. So a different animal with the same concept.
Yeah, I think going back into what I was just saying, I think one of the misconceptions in crypto is people use things like that and like, oh, well, this is the tokenomics. The tokenomics is good. And they use that as a placeholder for actually, building a community and actually supporting the token and getting engagement. And they kind of offset the burden of responsibility on the tokenomics away from the community. So it allows them to be lazy when it comes to promoting their tokens and stuff. It's part of the reason why I like kind of, making a point with meme coins is tokenomics don't really matter all that much. What really matters is the token holders and what they're doing with it and how they're treating the asset. So it's crucial to, kind of cherry pick what you want to add, additional tokenomics onto. It's very, very important.
Yeah. And then the community aspect too is important, because I think that, now that, I started with helping create the Hex community, and it's changed, it's morphed. We talk about this often lately about, we had kind of like a Metcalfe's law effect happen here where, we grew exponentially. We have a community that grew. And then we saw Reed's law take effect where subgroups started being created. We had, different token groups, different concepts, especially when PulseChain came out. As soon as PulseChain came out, then everybody's minds expanded and everybody kind of gathered into camps. And I think a lot of people took that for, being a war or a negative aspect. No, it was just people of like minds within the community starting to create subgroups to build communities of different value. Like the Atropa guys and then the Tangang guys. And, and there's all these different groups now, forming out there that are building their own thing and doing their own thing. And all of these things are valuable and make a network grow even more exponentially. And it also proves the value and the worth and the intelligence, wisdom, knowledge of the Richard Hart ecosystem community. I mean, you guys, everybody here, it's like the smartest of the smart in the DeFi space are over here. I mean, this community is just full of very intelligent people building cool stuff, and now we're seeing it move into other chains where now we're starting to garner the favor or the eyes of other chains communities where they are working on DeFi projects too. Because it's not just the PulseChain community that's in DeFi. There are other DeFi protocols out there and other DeFi chains that are doing things that are valuable. And, and instead of us turning into this strange, hodgepodge of freaking, only Richard Hart ecosystem stuff. No, we've got to reach out and everybody's got to start coming together so we can build this DeFi thing bigger,
Sorry to interrupt you guys. Me and Elliot were talking about this. Do you think Metcalfe law or Reed's law applies to GIF?
Well, I think Reed's law does, because it's turning into kind of a subgroup, of it's got a concept, and it's going to be doing things, and it's already building a community. I mean, their chat room just jumped to like over 1,000 people in just a couple of days, and and again, stealth launch, so nobody really knew about what was going on here, so there wasn't a lot of hype, but there's a lot of excitement, a lot of people seeing what it is, seeing the code, seeing how well it works, and wanting to be part of it. So I think that. And when I go into the chat room and I listen to people and I hear them all talking, you guys especially, I hear, a narrative, a certain vision. Like your guys' vision of what you want to see in crypto is not the same vision that the Tangang sees. These guys have a different vision, and they have their marketing plan. They have their projects. They have their things that they're into, and their pillars, their concepts. And I see, the same thing going on right now in the GIF chat rooms. So communities are all equal in value because they're all doing just different things, just like the Atropa guys and the other guys over there doing this and that. And it's all necessary. It's all needed in order for DeFi to come to fruition. I mean, we don't have it right yet, guys. This is the wild, wild west. Like, this is the first time, like, chains are getting cheaper. Chains are now available, viable, working, and people can build on them. And that's what we have now. So the brilliant minds are going, hey, we figured this thing out. We figured out liquidity. We figured out how to program these things to do really cool shit. So now let's go put them all in action, because now we don't have the Ethereum cabal holding us all down with gas fees and bullshit. Now we have DeFi protocols that are giving, free reign to everybody to go out and produce. And now they are, and these things are coming out, and it's cutting edge stuff. I mean, we are literally at the cutting edge of all this. People, the Bitcoin maxis and those people don't even have a clue about what's going on over here. They don't know how to touch LP. They don't know what that means. They don't know what it means to a token. They don't know what it means to an ecosystem. They don't know what kind of, value is made there. That belongs to exchanges for all they know. We know it belongs to people. We know it belongs to us. And we're out here educating people on how to use these things and help our ecosystems grow. So yeah, we're miles ahead of everybody else in crypto, and it's cutting edge stuff. So that's the problem. So that's the positive, and that's the negative. Positive is you're on a cutting edge. This shit's going to go crazy. You're going to do really well if you're careful.
Yeah.
Negative is that you get wrecked real easy. This is the wild, wild west, and you got to be
Make
really
mistakes. Yeah.
It's gonna be mistakes.
Yeah, it's all trial and error. And back to what you were saying, I think it was a rough transition for a lot of people to get to being a layer 1 blockchain from it was relatively large, but it was still a very tight-knit community where it had a mission, and it was kind of like an us versus them. But then when you get into a layer 1 blockchain, it's like, well, how do you get adoption? And it's like, well, now you have to play the game that the market is making, and you have to try to meet and exceed the demands of all the competition on the market. And I think that's what we're seeing now, really, where it's like, how do we get the people to come over here if they already like being elsewhere? It's an attention economy. So now we're like some people might not see it, and I think that's part of the problem. It's like, no, well, the stuff we have is better, but how do you show it to them? And now you have to change your messaging, your narrative, and your marketing, because now it's just not a token. You want you want everything that's out there, but you want it over here.
Yeah. So I'm gonna answer one more question for Mr. Plumber. Plumber, look, man, you're starting to get on my FUD nerve, and so please define value in the context you're talking about. Is it just hype, getting more people interested? What's the actual value of all these projects? DeFi, bro. DeFi. Did you hear that? That's the value. It never existed before. Now it's here, and we got it, and we're experimenting. So either be part of it or watch. Sit back and watch, Scooter. Watch what happens. That's what you do. It's DeFi.
I kind of made a meme about this earlier. I was playing on, the boomers, trading stocks. And I like how they say, just like highlighting meme coins specifically, like a lot of people say, oh, well, it doesn't solve a purpose. It doesn't have any meaning. It's just stupid tokens and whatnot. But then like some of those same individuals will go buy a Coca-Cola stock. So it's like, okay, so what is Coca-Cola doing to like fix anything? They make junk food, like people buy junk food, and people speculate on buying a stock because the junk food makes money, so it increases the value. So what is value? Value is the long-term speculation on an asset to generate revenue. The longer you can speculate on an asset going up, the more value it inherently has. That's really all it is at the end of the day. Just like I was saying, you don't really need tokenomics. What you're speculating on is the long-term growth of any, community, whether it's stupid ones or zeros on a blockchain or something that's generating revenue. That's what value is. It can be a picture of a dog. Why? Because you have a growing community that is increasing its, community net worth for a long long-term trend. That's the value. It doesn't need anything fancy.
Yeah, no, you're right. It doesn't have to be anything of it needs to be like minds buying into the idea, period. End of story. Like you said, it could be junk food. It could be totally killing you, and people will still speculate on it, buy it, and consume it. That's what humans do.
And then you got investors out there. Yeah, you have investors out there that say, hey, this looks like it's, doing something, and then they'll toss even more money at it. So you got the consumer end, and then you have the investor end, and that's where you see value. That's one of the things I'm trying to do. Like, I'm going really hard on the timeline about is trying to change a lot of old school mindsets that don't really make any sense if you think about it. People need to change in order to get this right.
Yeah, I've been saying that for a long time, and people are still, unfortunately, there's still a lot of the old crypto mindsets that are left over from the past. Trading days, ICO days, pump and dump days, all of that crap. There's still a lot of that old mindset there, and a lot of shell shock, a lot of PTSD. There's a lot of that in there, and people, even though they may even know what they should be doing or doing the right things, they still react in the wrong ways, even though because they were trained to do so. This space has been around for a while. It's not brand new, and so there's a lot of deep-seated issues, and they even boil up through this community still, and the communities around it. I see it still, even though there are smart minds and people that understand these things, they still are, go back to their old ways. For instance, we just saw this gift chart, what it did, I knew it wasn't real. I knew what was going on. I knew it was a good system and everybody liked it and it was working. It was functioning. I could see it functioning and it was like, cool, it's working. But there was cheating going on and there was dumping going on. And it's like, well, here come the negative externalities. And even though green candles were coming, it wasn't because of the right things. It was FOMO. And that is a negative externality, period, end of story. Now it does make number go up and it does make people money. But it loses people money too. And it doesn't help the narrative of what was being built, So anyway, we got another guy coming in, Coexistence Stephen. What is going on, Stephen? Welcome.
Hey, fellas, how's it going?
Hey there, Steven.
Doing all right.
Good to see you.
Good to see you all.
What do you got for us tonight?
I'm not too sure. I got Crypto Elliot in the chat. He basically just said, join up. He sent me the link. So yeah, here I am. Apparently we're talking about GIF. I have no context for the show at all. Sorry, I've been out. So
this is Discourse Syndicate's FN Hangout. We do it every Friday night. We let whoever wants to come in and talk about anything they want to talk about. And nobody, we have good conversations about things. And whether you like any of the things that we like is not the issue. The issue is let's talk about these things like human beings, and we have disagreements, agreements, and then we try and sort them all out, weed through them, understand and learn each other's understanding. That way we can make better decisions and grow a better community. That's what it's really been all about here. And so there's never really any, I may throw a little, thumbnail out that says something about the direction of the show, but other than that, it's a all out, whatever you want to bring to it. So what do you got?
yeah, beautiful. So obviously, Crypto Elliot invited me on to tell you guys that I bought the top of GIF. So
Well, welcome to crypto.
yeah, man. So, but like I even told him, I said, look, man, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the top simply because he'd been telling me since basically April 26th about GIF, and just I'm very cautious when it comes to buying crypto. And I know by the time I kind of like switch my mind towards actually buying, it's usually too late. It's usually the top. So I said to him, I go, look, I bet you this is going to be pretty much the top. And I think 3 days later, it was the top. And when I say top, I mean local top. So I actually really like the project. So I wanted to, that's the way I learn. I put skin in the game and I learn at the same time. And that's kind of my process. So yeah.
Well, are you doing the other thing, which is like, so if you get into something and your entry point is a local top, and you believe in it, you usually you get into something that you've done research on. I tell everybody, make sure you know what you're getting into. Don't just jump in to jump in. Make sure that you're ready to hold on to that asset, whether it goes up or goes down. Make sure you know what you're going to do with that asset, whether it goes up or goes down. Have a plan and stick with that plan. Now, a lot of people, when they get into something like that and they believe in it and they want to use it or be part of it, they come in, they buy the top. Well, they do the smart thing and they change their cost basis by buying on the way down. Is that what you're doing?
Exactly. So I normally, it's pretty much what I always do. So when it gets to like minus 70%, minus 80%, minus 90%, I'll rebuy. So I'm basically waiting for those big dips to re-enter. So I haven't sold my GIF because again, I looked into it first and I thought this is a fascinating project. It's got some top quality guys that I really trust in the community behind it. So I'll actually be continuing to accumulate on the way down. So I have no worries about it whatsoever. It's part of the game. And like people have made 10,000x. I've seen some of the lads in the Telegram chat, some people that I recognize from my own YouTube channel. So I'm extremely happy for the dudes who've made their gains. That's just the game. So
yeah. Let me bring Hex Mole on. What's up, Hex Mole?
Hey, Xmo.
Hey, how's it going, Captain?
So RG3, I wanted to ask you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what I was thinking about, what my idea was for the GIF concept, was basically get as much coins attached to it. And even when GIF has no hype, and let's just say Hex runs and Pulse is slow and Hex gets some hype cycle, basically GIF profits from that because it activates the ARPs in the system. So basically you benefit from every mini bull market in the whole system. And if you could take it from ETH or from any chain back to Pulse, you're basically cross-chain profiting from each bull market on each chain, and that comes back to Pulse.
Right.
So there's many different things that could be built upon it on GIF. So it's
Well,
it's
you know how
fascinating.
they say every coin gets its turn individually. They say, don't worry, it's not your turn yet. And we've seen that in the ecosystem. And like how Larry likes to say seesaws. We have one seesaw between GIF and PGIF. Another one is Icosa. And like you said, the more that you have, the more that it gets whipped up, whipped down. And that's just, like you said, it doesn't have to be our turn. It can be someone else's turn. It would still benefit all the energy that's going to flow through GIF. I don't know how much we've talked about it, but I mean, you've seen how excited I've been in chat. I've been going crazy. I've been talking about this isn't a coin. This is multiple coins. This is an index. So when you see like a high valuation market cap, you're looking at that and you're thinking, oh, this is high. This is a lot. And it's like, this is high for one coin, but this isn't one coin. This is one coin. This is two coins, 3 so far, plus Icosa. And then who knows how many coins we're going to do. We've got Pulsar. We've got, every other coin on PulseChain that could be good. It's crazy. And if you think it's a high valuation, I mean, I've said this so many times, think of all the coins that are going to end up in the dead address. And think about when this goes up again, how volatile it just was. We've been burning every day. I've been burning my same stack every day. I've been putting it into the mint function, running it. The GIF that I put into the mint function gets burnt. I get the PGIF. I sell it into GIF again. I run it again. Every time I do that, those coins are getting burnt and sent to the address. So when we get pushed up again, it's going to be even more volatile. It's going to be even more violent. I know people like to, they look at a red candle and that's like, that's all you can see on the front. But when you see all the moving parts and everything, this is going to go crazy. And I love that Kool-Aid and everyone, they didn't hold anyone's hand. They just kind of said, here it is, do what you want with it. And I remember when I was first talking about it, Kinetics, I said, could this be like an index fund? And he just said, maybe it is it? And gave the little eye emojis. He didn't say anything else. And when he said that, that's when it all clicked for me. And I was like, okay, time to ape. So yeah.
So LPs bond tokens together, but a system like this also bonds the tokens together. So when the tide rises, everything rises, and even more more violently, like you said, when they're all connected together and they're all moving up in value. The only thing that I warn about is what happens in crypto, and it's going to happen again, and it's going to go against the laws of the physics here. Is what happens when a blue chip crypto starts mooning, the lower value cryptos get dumped and everybody moves into the blue chip. And when the blue chip starts going down, everybody starts moving into the lower value tokens. And you're not going to stop that, because that's just kind of inherent and built into crypto. And that's going to affect the system also in a negative way, in my opinion. I just think that you're never going to get away from that. That's always going to happen. We're seeing it in the bigger crypto space right now. The OTC trades for Bitcoin were going nuts. Bitcoin ended up nobody market buying shit, and Bitcoin goes to 70K. Whew, all of a sudden, everybody, oh, wait a second. Billions were traded behind the scenes. BlackRock's got their crypto, never bought one off the freaking market, never bought anything off the market. And then all of a sudden, boom, Bitcoin goes to 70K. Why? Because everybody knew what was going on. People started getting word out, hey, BlackRock's got their coins. BlackRock's got their coins. Wham, everything went crazy. And you're never going to stop that kind of insider G thing from happening and value switching back and forth. So that's always an externality that you can't really count on not being there. It's always going to be there.
How do you, so I said, Marco put this really well. He called it the heart, and the ecosystem, the veins. It could be. And I said, I think this is not an altcoin anymore. I think this is on its way to becoming a core coin, depending on how many things we have flowing through it. I see Spooky here, too spooky.
What's going on? How are you? I'm waiting for my moment to play devil's advocate here.
Go ahead. I love it.
And do you want to talk about the Tangang Academy too while you're at it?
Yeah, we can. Tangang Academy.
That's the one thing that I've really liked. The narrative that you guys have is teaching people about liquidity, teaching people on how to go out and be part of the system, build up the system, and be part of DeFi. And we don't hear enough about that. And you guys talk about it often. I sit in your rooms and listen, and I get a lot from it. So if you maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, Tangang Academy is it's a resource of a ton, and I mean a ton of DeFi knowledge on things like liquidity providing and whatnot. You really can't compress it into like a small thing. The amount of knowledge there, like there's stuff in that resource that you haven't even heard us talk about because of how in depth that is. And something interesting actually happened today. Bullish made it free for public mint. So if you go to I think it's tangangacademy.com, you'll probably be able to mint it for free. I think it's 3 per wallet. Now that it's public, it's probably gonna disappear fast now that I'm saying it here on the stream. But you should definitely mint one and check it out because it is so in depth. It's knowledge that everyone absolutely needs, and it's one of the reasons why the Tangang exists, to try to teach people how to do this the right way.
Yeah, and SJ, if you would put the link up there for everybody so they got it, I think we'll put it down in the description too, so everybody has a link to it. I know that the Tangang gets a reputation for being over the top, wild, crazy, in your face, and but if you would sit back and and some of them come after me, but there's value behind what they're doing. If you get over the memeing and you get over the freaking the attitude that you don't appreciate or whatever, and you listen to what they're really saying, what's really going on back there, there's a lot more going on than you think. And I know a lot of people got sour grapes because they got in fights or whatever with Tangangers. But you know, hey, that's just them. That's their thing. That's what they do. That's how they're marketing. And you don't like it, that's great, but you don't have to like it in order to go and get something from them, you know, and they're giving it for free. They're letting people know and learn how to do these things. And it's in their academy there. You can check it all out.
Yeah, I'm not going to charge you $9.99 a month. You can get the education for free here.
Yeah, you get it for free.
But yeah, what I wanted to talk about was two things. So I'm trying just as I was saying earlier, there's a lot of narratives in crypto that I'm trying to make a point about that actually aren't true, but people are socially conditioned to, you know, participate. And one of those things is rotating your assets from, you know, altcoins, the small caps to core coins, quote unquote core coins or blue chips. It's not something I believe, but I do think a lot of people are conditioned to do it. And it's kind of like follow the leader. And that's why we have such volatility in assets, is because everyone tries to buy low and sell high. And more people end up getting hurt than actually making gains when they're trying to chase the market cycle. And it's also one of the reasons why I like liquidity providing so much, because when you actually understand what you're doing, you can absolutely leverage a quote unquote core coin or blue chip with a smaller cap or an altcoin. And you can basically mitigate your risk on all that volatility while making the passive income.
Never have to sell.
Never have to sell, because you got the passive income there, and you're holding, you know, the more stable asset and also the more volatile one. And when you're actually looking at the macro cycle, you know, basically both are going to go up either way. So this mindset of rotating from the smaller cap coins, etc., into the bigger ones, I think is actually detrimental to most investors. Yep. So it's something that we're really fighting against. And I think you'll see, at least from the Tang Gang, that you're not going to see us rotating from these coins that are making us, you know, hundreds, thousands of X's into any other assets. It's getting to a point on the timeline, you guys might be seeing it now, where people are like, I'm tired of buying other meme coins. They just want to buy something I launch, or they want to buy something that comes out of the Tang Gang. This is the only thing that a lot of people are feeling like they can trust right now when it comes to meme coins, at least. And I don't see a lot of people, especially with the education and the opportunities we're providing, like with 9MM staking, I don't see them rotating, not to the same extent. Now, with that being said, there are people that are not going to take the advice, and they're not going to do what's in their best interest. They're going to do what's comfortable. And I think being comfortable is an issue, which is, you know, I think it was a fallacy coming from being just a Hex community into a layer 1 blockchain. People got comfortable in the mindset. So when people are comfortable, you know, taking profits at the top or waiting for a dip, that's when, you know, you get, you know, people losing out on opportunity. So that's one of the things I'm trying to fight against. The other point that everyone was talking about was the tokenomics of, you know, liquidity bonding and stuff going up and getting burns from GIF and whatnot. That's something I was saying earlier, is like, I think too many people focus on tokenomics, and then instead of actually building an actual token economy or a real community, they're like, oh, well, this tokenomic is really good. We should buy these tokens and we should do these things because the tokenomics are good. But then you don't do any of the actual work to build a real community, to actually build value in a token. And so tokenomics can be good, but they're actually an amplification of what's already good in an asset. If you don't have the main ingredients to a cake, you'll never bake a cake. You can't just have icing. And I think that's one of the things a lot of people, you know, they lose focus on what's important because they get the moon math in their head from, you know, a feature. So as cool as it is to have burns on a token or some type of tokenomics that can amplify an asset, the asset only has any real intrinsic value from the community essentially deciding that it has that intrinsic value. So I would focus more so on adding that amplification on people and on community, rather than focusing on that amplification, because you can't multiply zero.
Nope. You got to have a good product, and you got to have a good community.
Right.
Hell yeah. That's why I've been here spitting out a spleen for 4 years, trying to help build a community. Listening to motherfuckers bitch and cry and complain on the phone for hours and hours every day. But we did it. We built a community, and now there's sub communities coming from it and growing from it, and I agree with you 100%. You know, the community is what's important, because see, we've got a product here that needs to come to market via word of mouth and the people. We're not going to put this on a fucking billboard. We're not going to stick this on a plane. We're not going to put, this is not going, all those little things are like, you know, fucking sprinkles and cherries that go on top of ice cream. You got to have something that's going to be valuable to people's. You got to have a community telling people, because how in the hell are you going to put an ad out in a magazine or on a website or something that tells everybody exactly everything that they need to know how to get into DeFi, how to buy a meme coin, and how to buy GIF, or how to do any of this? You just can't. You've got to sit down and handhold people. You've got to build community that can answer questions for people and be there for them 24/7 in Telegram rooms and in Twitter spaces, and working with them and helping them to understand what's going on here. There's a lot of education that needs to be done, and we don't have a formal class. It's community that builds that, and it's community that helps everybody get through these things. It's community that teaches people how to be secure, how to handle their crypto properly. It's community that's going to teach the narrative of what the difference between centralized finance and decentralized finance is. It's the community that's going to get loud enough to go out and fight the powers that are trying to take crypto away from us. You know, there's a lot of things going on here that it requires community. And one of the things that I've been really distraught about is the separation of all of us in crypto. It's time we all came together. It's time we all understand, respect, and let each other do their thing. And yes, there's scammers all over the fucking place, but that's up to you to watch for them, to be aware of them, to not stick your things in places that it doesn't need to be stuck into. If you're out there getting wrecked, most of the time it's your fault. Yeah, I don't like scammers, but you know what? They're everywhere. You're going to get them everywhere. But people that are actually trying to do things, let them do things. You know, there's no reason to go out and poke people in the eye for trying to build something, for trying to make something happen. And if they fail, that doesn't mean that they were trying to bilk everybody. If they're out in front of you, they said, look, I failed. I did this. I'm going to try and fix this. I'm going to try and fix that. Let them do that, instead of trying to berate them and bash them and destroy them all over the internet. And you've got somebody who put their money, their time, their effort into something, and maybe it failed, or maybe they did something wrong. But you got to give people the chance to go and do that, you know? And I don't see enough of that. I don't see enough of crypto folks and communities having reciprocity with one another. And if we're going to talk about exchanging value and change and all that, we got to talk about reciprocity between the communities. Communities need to talk and be respectful to one another and make this thing work if we're going to grow a big community, you know? And I don't see enough of that going on. And that's the one thing that's, you know, I've leaned into all the communities out there, and I've been criticized for it, but I'm not going to stop. I like everybody in these spaces. You know, you guys are all important, I think, in your own ways. And yeah, there's some dregs out there, but fuck, man, if that was the case, if you guys had seen me and pulled me out from under the bridge, you wouldn't be hanging out with me today. That's for sure. You know, everybody deserves a chance. Everybody deserves to have their value seen, you know, or at least ignored. You know, if you don't see the value in them, you don't need to go after them. Let them do their thing. Let them go and build. Let them be. They're all here in crypto. Everybody's here in crypto for a reason. And it's up to the louder voices, the smarter voices, the more rational voices to get out there and provide the narrative for people to learn, you know, and provide the material, you know, for them to learn. So
there's no sportsmanship.
Sportsmanship?
Yeah, there is no sportsmanship. That's
not in crypto.
No.
No, you're right though. Reciprocity is very, very important, and I don't think a lot of people quite see how much the Tang Gang stands on that. To the point where, like, a lot of our NFTs, you know, they come from people who are outside of the community. We've onboarded a lot of people, and we have a model set up that's basically built upon reciprocity. It's where it's like, hey, if you want our attention, you know, build something really cool, or, you know, give us something that's really nice, and then you'll have our attention. That's kind of how the 9mm protocol was built. We Deva, that built 9mm, he gave us 100 NFTs for free, and he explained to us what everything was, and we loved it. So that's why today, like, we're so adamant about 9mm and how great it is because there was that system of reciprocity there. And we do like Free Mint Friday almost every Friday. I think there was one Friday in the last like 8 or 9 months where we didn't have a free Mint Friday where people could free mint NFTs.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
One of the things that I've noticed on the timeline is that people can't separate the individuals from the Tang Gang. That's how we are, that we're so tight knit as a community now. Basically anything that launches from any member inside the community, it just gets labeled as Tang Gang. But I mean, me personally, I've launched like what, 6 tokens, but how many tokens do you see on the timeline? So it's not like I have any, you know, personal benefit on shilling some of the tokens that have been launched by other community members, especially if I'm not even holding the bags. But, you know, they support me and I also support them. And we have a community that's built upon trust where we're, you know, we're trying to amplify the message and the things that we teach. So there's that inherent reciprocity factor there where it's like, I know this is a good person. I want to support them, even if it doesn't benefit me financially. And it goes all ways in our community. And I don't think a lot of people see that.
Yeah, reciprocity is you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Kind of. That's really basically what it boils down to. Waffle Medegen. You know, and you know, I saw the value real early in the Tang Gang. I was, somebody brought an NFT, you know, people bring things to me all the time. Somebody brought an NFT project to me and it appeared to be a, you know, a pretty big deal. And they were people that were, you know, outside of the crypto community. And I reached out to you guys and I sat down with Gooey and he gave his time freely and worked with this project and they failed and they failed to deliver and all that kind of stuff. But I saw it. I really saw the inner workings of the Tang Gang and what they were doing. Like, it's like, hey, we don't want anything from you. We're going to show you how to do your own thing. We're going to show you how to get away from those guys and come over here and do your own thing. And we'll protect you and teach you and educate you on what to do here in order to hold on to your property, in order to, you know, create the value and distribute it. And we'll even give you a marketing place to do so and a marketing team. You know, it's reciprocity, you know, make a little something for us or bring something to the community and show you, you know, your value to us and we'll give you our value. And it was literally that. And I was like, man, that is badass. That's a badass concept. It was, and it was open arms. Hey, here, I'll help you do this, help you. And like I said, it didn't work out. But it really opened my eyes to what you guys are really doing in the background, you know, and watching you guys work and watching you guys do all that. And like you said, the personalities, I mean, shit, I've got like 10 of you guys blocked probably from, you know, some of the shit they've given me, but that's, you know, that's neither here nor there, but you know, I've gotten in fist fights with my brother, you know, but I mean, it's what's really going on in the background, what you guys are doing, you know, that I like. And the, you know, the NFT, the way you guys have embraced the NFT community and taught them how to keep their own property and have their IP belong to them and not get ripped off by all these platforms that are out there and all that stuff. I thought that was noble. It was good. And then when I saw what you guys were doing, talking about liquidity providing and teaching people the tenets of DeFi, I was like, yeah, these guys are really good. Even though, you know, a lot of people didn't see it. I did. And I tend to like to look at the positive things in peoples and groups and whatnot, and all the negative stuff, I just let it go under the bridge, whatever.
I'm with you, Captain. And I think that's probably one of the powers of PulseChain. There's like all these sub-communities that are coming at, they're trying to tackle that issue of how do we not destroy each other? How do we win together? And how do we utilize the power of decentralized finance? And there's all these sub-communities on PulseChain that are doing that. And I love that. That's what I love the most. For me, it's like religion. Amongst all the religions, they're killing each other, saying, no, I'm right. No, I'm right. They'll have a war. But that's irrelevant. It's the similarities that are, that's the power. And I see the same thing with everything on PulseChain as well. This is the only community that I think, I'm wrecked. I think maybe you're wrecked.
Maybe
you're wrecked.
I think you're lagging a bit, Captain.
Me?
No, RG3. I think he's roboted out a bit.
I think we've got all these different influences, and like everyone just has such strong personalities as well. I think that's part of it. You know,
Oh.
everyone has strong personalities, and
Yeah, for sure.
I
that
have a
does have an
little,
effect on everyone's opinions and agreeing with each other and trying to get along, because they've all got their own personalities, and some of those personalities turn into narratives, and before you know it, someone's stepping on someone else's toes and they're contradicting what that person said, or they're disagreeing with what that person said, and it just continues, you know. But eventually, I think there's going to be a point where it comes to people have to agree to disagree. Everyone's here for the same reason.
Yeah.
And that's fact. So like, eventually,
Hey, books.
All right, we're going to change things up a little bit. I'm
Well-
going to bring Gary onto the scene, make it real interesting in
Hello.
here. And we've got DGen Waffle and Bright Light. This is getting like really interesting. Let's have at it. What's up,
Nice.
Gary? How you doing, buddy?
So I got a lot of Bluetooth things connected. I don't know if
Can you all hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you guys got to
Yes.
turn off your YouTube. Somebody's got a YouTube on.
Hey,
I
books.
think it's- Hold
yo,
on a second. Let me.
Your value is going up again. buddy.
yeah, I see it. I see it.
There you go.
Hmm.
All right. What's up, Gary?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I'm connected. Yeah, it's great to have this space, man. I haven't seen something come together on Discourse in a while, and you know, the number one person I wanted to talk to, of course, it's great that DGen's in here as well, is Too Spooky. Really liked the guy for many, many, many years. I think he knows that I respect a lot of what he has done, especially when it comes to Tangang, him, Bullish, all the others, DGens in every Twitter space I ever hear. Really like the community in general. I did have some questions, and it is about the LP stuff. Maybe I should go through this academy. I saw the link was put out there as far as I think Tangang Academy, if that's correct, .com. So go through if that's like an education thing. I don't know if it's a recycle of the 60 hours of education stuff that was attached to NFTs back in the day. If it's the
Yes.
same thing.
Yes, from
Okay.
the Pokegon.
Okay, so yeah, so if it's the Pokegon stuff, then I've seen a lot of that stuff. That's really pretty cool. But I just, again, reaffirming that if it's under a different brand name, if it's the same content, I think it was very useful. It was very helpful. I do have some questions, and it really comes from listening into spaces, mostly with Famous. I think Famous has been the best about explaining some things I just want to reaffirm. When he has made comments, maybe Too Spooky, I think he's heard this as well. When he's made comments about what derivatives basically sell into on Ethereum, derivatives, leverage positions, whatever you want to call it, sell down into Ethereum. And then if they're going to exit into dollar or Bitcoin or something else, at least that's been the history over the different cycles. Would you say the same sort of thing happens with Tangang or Atropa or XYZ community, you know, Reed's Law kinds of stuff? You know, basically if there's a great position, if there's a great community, if there's great liquidity positions provided by usually early adopters that really have that similar agreement, does it still matter to have PLS as valuable? Because are things sold into PLS very similar to how things on Ethereum are sold into Ethereum? Can you explain that?
Yeah, so what you usually see in crypto, you're correct about. And as I was explaining earlier, I believe it's kind of like, you know, follow the leader, except in most people are not playing the game we're playing, where we have an actual market making community. And so typically you'll have people selling off their assets to go into like the blue chips, etc. But I think we are the first community in crypto to actually show the value of retaining your principal investment and keeping your value in a liquidity position where you're making the passive income, where you're not going to have the same like level of rotation that you would normally see. Because we're getting people in really good positions even now. PulseChain itself hasn't gone bullish. You know, it hasn't been following most of the crypto market. And so a lot of the people now, I'm trying to show them like, yeah, you're still actually really early. So when we do start getting into that point where you see a lot of rotation, I don't think it's going to happen to the same degree inside our community, because we're a market making community and we're not necessarily, you know, trying to be the first person to sell the top. Where we have a completely different game plan, and like I'm trying to get my portfolio set up to be multi-cycle. I'm not trying to, you know, exit into Pulse or exit into stables, at least not, you know, like my entire position, maybe half of the position to get into, you know, like into stables. So there's less volatility, but I'm not trying to like exit the crypto cycle and then try to time the bottom to come back in. And I think most of us inside the community have a similar mindset. So it's going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen anywhere near to the same degree that you're going to see. Just like most people trade, I think the ratio of traders to liquidity providers is vastly different than any other community, where most people are, you know, buying at some point and then they're waiting for their exit. That's how most crypto works, and that's why you see so much volatility in small coins or small cap coins or altcoins. We're playing a different game.
So again, I'm sure I'm going to misspeak some of the different memes. And when they get launched, you know, obviously the community is very strong, tight knit, has great moats as far as like an engagement outside of the existing community to outreach, like to different blockchains and things. So that's pretty cool. So when something gets launched, and then it's paired with something that already exists, maybe launched by the Tang Gang or by people that are kind of like accepted in the Tang Gang as far as their own like NFT project or other coins. Does that still, you know, you're in an accumulation because of the 9mm function, the liquidity, you know, basically I think that's kind of the teachings is basically to have a cash flow from being a liquidity provider more than buy low, sell high kind of narratives. And again, I think that's what we all have wanted, at least publicly, that's what people say, since the origin of even the beginnings of this community. But Bitcoin has said that, and then they rotate into Ethereum to, you know, do their degen, and then they collapse into Bitcoin each cycle, it seems like. Ethereum, same sort of thing. There's different L2s, there's different, you know, subset communities. How does one accumulate something like DWB, you know, some of the popular ones that get so much meme attention? What do they actually collapse into if there is a cycle? Or are you just saying basically the community is going to forever, you know, live off of 2% fees as the LPs? Like, what is the narrative behind the community? That's helpful.
So one of the beneficial things about providing liquidity is that you're actually mitigating your position. You're like, say you want to buy Nanana, you're not just buying Nanana, you're buying like a 50% position. Or if you do, you know, enter a full position, you're getting into liquidity to cash out on the way up, your dollar cost averaging out into the other side of the pair. Lots of people already just from the jump, they'll go into DAI or they'll go into like WrapETH or WrapBTC. And so you're scaling out into those, you know, quote unquote, safer assets on the way up as things get more bullish. So one of the beneficial things from a community standpoint when that happens is that, say someone buys like 5% of the supply, but they go into LP, they're cashing out. So then when you get that cycle top, they're not actually holding as much. And most people think against that because they have that unit number bias and the what I call the profit maximalist mindset, where they want to have as many tokens as possible so they can extract as much value as possible from the community. But when you take the more conservative approach and you're getting that passive income and you're more comfortable cashing out conservatively by dollar cost averaging, which most people preach anyways, they just don't realize impermanent loss and dollar cost averaging is the same thing. You're actually protecting the community because you're selling your assets to the market rather than on the market. And that, again, goes back into why it's more stable. But most people who are liquidity providers, they're mitigating their risk by entering the volatile position and leveraging it against a less volatile position in most cases. Or they're taking two exotic pairs and just insulating the system either way.
So a follow-up to that, and you kind of said it was, you know, I've heard this often. I've heard it from, you know, different narratives of, you know, you're not hurting the price if you're placing a V3. if you're concentrated, if you're basically above where market price is, then that gets chewed through. You know, we hear these things like sell walls and, you know, on either direction or whatever. So during a quote unquote bull where people expect there's going to be price rise, you know, 3 years of terrible and nobody likes crypto and everybody's out of crypto, Google Trends, people start talking about the halving and so forth, this idea that there'll be another, you know, bull run. It makes sense to say, hey, I'm going to put a position and it'll be eaten through. And because it's eaten through, you know, momentum maybe can continue, right? You know, to be climbing higher. But if it is long term, what are your thoughts about being V2 for 5 years? Why is it V3 eaten through and then so you're sold out of your position altogether? And then what is the idea, to rebuy or just to move to a different meme? I don't understand.
Well, ideally, people wouldn't be cashing out of their full position at the top. You could do that, but what I try to tell people is like, look, if you cash out your full position and you're going to wait for like a year or two to buy back in, you're not really setting yourself up to change your lifestyle, in my opinion, unless you're dumping like massive bags. You know, some people get to do that. Most people don't. So one of the things I'm going to be aiming for when we actually start getting closer to the top is actually helping, you know, other people. This is something I'll be doing myself, how to cash out in a more efficient way. So you're not completely exiting the system, but you are, you know, still getting in a good position for everyone to work together to make the asset more stable. Like what I'll probably do is take some of my assets, put it in a single side, getting closer to the top, pricing it in a die pair, so that like as PulseChain continues to go up or the cycle continues to go up, you'll still get the positive price action regardless of what the relative price is to Pulse. So you should be able to effectively cash out if you are, or cash out some of your position if you know, time it right, which you have a big window to do that in you know, a bull run. And then you can get, you know, some of your profits out, what you think you might need for a year or two. And instead of just dumping that bag for fiat, there's other things you could do. You can go into like, you know, a stable pair to get passive income. Like my whole thing is the passive income route. So as a community, we are going to be preaching the right way to get out of a position, so you are protected without kind of screwing yourself for the long run. And I think, like I said, as a market making community, not just individuals trying to time the market, it'll be much more effective for us to be working together. And as you can see, we're pretty vocal and we communicate quite a bit. So I don't see it as a concern of, you know, everyone panicking and dumping the bags, because we're going to be showing people the right way to do it. And then I will be, you know, my main wallet is doxed. People see the transactions I make. They'll be seeing me put into practice the way to do it. And a lot of people are, I'm sure, going to, you know, follow suit and do it effectively.
Well, and again, I don't want to dominate this back and forth, but I think these are very important. You and I having a direct conversation, especially in this kind of forum, is important, I think. So I believe in brand equity, and I believe in an individual, you know, being doxed or being forward facing or community facing. I think that has value. That's my bias. That's my boomer position in how I relate to people. So when you launch, when it's your profile and your contract address is thrown out there, it has a lot of value. I like it. I mean, I prefer someone that says, oh, I know this person. This person has a trended history of how they've behaved. You know, technology can still fuck things up. People can get hacked or whatever. Like we've seen, I don't even know this roaring kitty, if that's a real guy now, you know, because he's like putting out so much about the GameStop or whatever, all that stuff that's going on there. So like, as long as there's like reassurance every so often that you're still human and you're still here, then I want to support things that you launch, because I do believe in the narrative. Now, how it gets communicated, some people love abrasive, aggressive, shove it down your throat. This is what you should do. The cabal is evil. They always faded for many years. Finally, they're going to show up at the doorstep. Like that may be attractive, right, to some, and it's not attractive to others. So I want to support things that you guys are doing, because I do think of you obviously as the leader, or as a leader in a decentralized, autonomous, you know, organization of marketing, or what your narrative is. I forgot the phrase.
Yeah.
But like, I like it, right? And I like what Bullish does, and I like what you do, and I like what many other people that are often in the Twitter spaces are about. I do have a frame, which is, I think that it's most important that 9 times as many people as are inside of any of this ecosystem arrive. How did they arrive? So what are your thoughts about outbound engagement?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different flavors inside the farmers market we have. Some of those flavors are very spicy. I can get spicy sometimes too, but I also try to be nice to the point where even some of the other members in the community tell me I'm too nice. When it comes to that dynamic, sometimes I kind of see myself as like the good cop when we're trying to, communicate to people. It's part of the reason why, the community helped me get this set up now. I now have a computer, I have a microphone, all this good stuff now. So I'm hoping to be able to, push myself on the public with the communication and more because, like I kind of ramble and I go really in depth with the liquidity providing and putting that message out there. So like usually as long as someone's not attacking me and I don't feel like I have to mean them to death, I'm fine having conversations like this. It's, as long as I'm comfortable talking about it, I can go on all day about all this stuff. So I'm hoping that just at least for myself and hopefully for the benefit of the community, I can jump on more streams and talk to more people in a format that attracts more than just degen meme coiners, and we can get the message out there like, liquidity providing. Because one of the things I like talking about, like I'm not a real estate expert, but I see the similarities between providing liquidity for, the long-term passive income, growing your net worth. I see a lot of similarities to how people manage real estate portfolios. And I think it's a really good analogy that can connect with quite a bit of people. So when I'm able to communicate like this, I also see it as a different type of net benefit for everybody. Because I know, just like you're saying, that's more attractive to some people than when we're, fighting other people on the timeline.
Yeah. If I spend 80% of my time not on Twitter and not on Instagram and not on any of this stuff, I feel like mentally better about talking about crypto to people. If I spend any time on Twitter, I'm like, fuck these people, fuck this shit. I'm out. I'm going back to real estate. Fuck all y'all. So like the ambassadorship, whether you like them or you don't like them, I think that even the weak, timid person that talks positively to a new person is useful. So like, that's just my frame. But like, I tell you, some of the harsh treatment from the Tang gang, and I'm, call me a fucking pussy. I was like, I'm going to just delete all my shit. Fuck all y'all guys. Because it's really just like one group. So again, I do appreciate what you guys do as far as education. I appreciate what you do as far as engagement. I like when there are things that are outside of just this one blockchain. Like you do stuff with Chia, you do stuff with Crow, you do stuff that's, outside of this one narrow channel. And whether we like, I don't know if there's consensus, the idea that there's a multi-chain world in our future, I don't know. Like I like to support KG because he's on multi-chain. Whether you like them or not, I like that 9inch has Ethereum stuff too. I like that you guys are engaged with different chains. So like the maximalists, whatever a cabal is, I don't think there's that many cabal people. Like they're mysterious because the ones I talked with that are public, they still have bags of shit everywhere, right? So it's kind of like I want to push forward and I want to help if it's useful. If it's not, then going mute and just doing my own stuff for a while is kind of the mentality. So
I understand. I appreciate you.
I love being in the dark alleys of crypto. It's where I thrive. So I love being abused. I love watching abuse. It's just whatever. That's
Yo, RG3.
What's up, GGN Waffle? How you
What's
doing?
happening, dude? I don't even know how I got here, bro.
I don't know either. You know how to push a fucking link and get in?
Dude,
wow.
I clicked a link in a bull market. We're so... I deserve zero, dude.
You do.
No,
we got your wallet
chat. I did a super chat. You didn't read it out loud. I was like, I'm going on there.
Wait a
and
minute.
then I got here. And I was
There ain't
having a
no
good
super
time.
chat in it. I didn't see a super chat.
You did. It was adorable. I
Oh, it's a
wrote
good
out
one.
a whole
Oh, there it
graph,
is. Wait a minute.
20 bucks.
Hold on a second. Let me
Autistic Satoshi.
You got to.
hold on. Hey, let's read Waffle. Actually stands for Stakes May Destroy Financial Technology and Banking. Nah, just kidding. Let's fucking go. Gang, 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 gang. Captain Nahomi and Spooky, the autistic Satoshi. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, DJ and Waffle. Everybody, this is DJ and Waffle. Come to join us today. How you doing?
Anything
bud?
I can do to help. Anything I can do to help, man. I was like, yeah, we got to throw a super chat.
Am I mistaken? I'm not sure. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Did DGen sell the largest or the highest priced NFT on PulseChain? Are you the one that has like the
marketing's a hell of a thing, Gary? I sold the highest ever priced PulseChain asset priced in Pulse Hex ever. It's a very specific thing, and I hold that trophy high. Don't fact check me. Don't fact check me. No, I wanted to talk about one thing that I really liked, and I brought this up a couple times, and it's been in my head. It's been in my head a lot this week. Providence and PulseChain, right? So you talked about the fact of like how people are comfortable following Too Spooky into his beautiful Satoshi arc, if we're gonna call it something crazy, of just throwing up a fruit, an anime, and a contract address, and the thing that I've grown to love about PulseChain that some people see as a negative is very strange. You know, everybody, the haters want to look at PulseChain and they want to look at volume, they want to look at users, they want to look at all these negative aspects of PulseChain. But in reality, it's the greatest setup for a community that is passionate. You have less bots, you have less value extractors. There's obviously economic volume, there's economic value inside of PulseChain. It's what created it, it's what surrounded it. Hex bled into PulseChain. PulseChain has created this ecosystem. You cannot find another chain that is active, that has active users right now, where somebody like Too Spooky can throw up a ticker or a contract address and actually get into that ticker at a 30K market cap. It doesn't exist in the rest of blockchain. It doesn't exist on Solana. It doesn't exist on Base. It doesn't exist on anything else, because the problem is there's so many value extractors. There's so many botnets. There's so many mev bots that are pointed at Twitter. It's the greatest sense of like actual transition from provenance to trust. The reason why people can throw money into a string of letters and numbers that Too Spooky puts on Twitter is because they've known Too Spooky long enough to actually transition that provenance to history, to a blockchain that's not overly botted and shitty, and they can actually get a position. And then 90mm is pretty great because you're getting 2,500% APR on single-sided liquidity. So even when you want to sell, you're making hundreds just because you sell. Like there's people always want to look at the negative, but there's this beauty to this everybody wants to talk about early. Everybody wants to talk about early, right? You are in the greatest position possible because you have users, you have economic value, you have the memes, you have the utility, you have the tech, you have everything you need. But it still has this weird, stigma around Richard Hart right now that some people are kind of half in, half out. Take advantage of that. Build your real estate on PulseChain now, because we all know what's going to happen in the bull run. We all know what's going to happen when that transition happens, whether it's the SEC or people forget about the SEC. It doesn't matter. We know where the economic power is going to be over the next 6 to 12 months. Build your real estate now. Build your real estate now, people. That's my thoughts.
I have a personal anecdote about I know Gary will like this because he's been all about the networking for God since I've even been on this side of the internet. I had friends that they didn't have any interest, but then they got into Solana, and they're buying, they're getting rugged, they're buying. Every chart basically on Solana goes straight up and then straight back down. And they're like, why can't, just getting rugged over and over again. And going to talk about the Tangang and Spooky, I said, well, if you want to get into a coin that's a low market cap and you don't want to get rugged, come and look at this. And I just posted the charts from all of the Tangang stuff, from just everything. And that was enough to get them in. That was enough to get them over the bridge. So talking about people that had no idea what PulseChain is, I'm showing them the bridge. I'm showing them this and that, the IFPS, all these things. And it's exactly what Spooky was saying, is it's a market making and it's community and it's reciprocity. And I know a lot of people maybe into game theory and stuff. Like, the thing about it is, it's like the prisoner's dilemma or the split or steal thing. It's if everyone does the right thing, everyone can win in perpetuity. It's when people start to defect that it causes like a cascading effect. One person dumps and the next person dumps, or maybe someone's like, oh, I want to buy my own bags back lower, and then it just follows on from the original flashpoint. And the difference between what the Tangang's doing and what we're doing and what GIF's doing is, it is the community, it is the reciprocity, and it's so important. And that's why I said, this is why these charts look like this and your charts look like that. And that was enough for them. They were like, yeah, you know what, I'm tired of being rugged, let me learn about this PulseChain stuff. Now they're probably going to be watching the stream. They're like, can you send me some Pulse on the other side, because they bridged Wethin and not wrapped Pulse, and just all of this stuff. So yeah, the Tangang, whatever you think, they are great for networking, and they're great for outreach and bringing fresh sets of eyes, multi-chain, because I've seen it work for myself in like the past 3 or 4 days. Finally got my first onboards into Pulse, and that's, tell you, after 3 years, that is quite a feat.
Nice. Got a question for you, Spooky. As more and more people learn how to use liquidity. Now, do you think that by bringing people out of the trading game, number go up, number go down, buy low, sell high, by bringing people out of that and into the liquidity space, do you think that takes the one negative externality out and adds to a positive externality? Or do you think that thickens up the pools too much and causes a slowing effect on the growth of the token's value going up? What's your opinion on that as more people learn how to provide liquidity?
So there's a couple of different angles to look at that from. So because
we know there's a balance, you know what I mean?
Yeah. If your mindset is like, oh, this coin that I have that's already up 10,000x, I want it to do another 10,000x. The thicker the liquidity is, the harder that is to do. Yes. Now, the thing is, and this is something I've been talking about a lot lately, is that part of the reason why it's so crucial to have like this market making community where we're taking the conservative approach and getting passive income and actively managing the LPs depending on the market conditions is that, how should I say it? Is that you don't really have to worry too much about, the assets you're holding that are consistently going up in value for the most part, having to do like another 10,000x because you already took yourself out of that headspace to have that moon math trader aspect. But then when you compare it to something like real estate, where part of the reason why the real estate market pretty much only goes up and to the right is because there's more people being born every year than there are houses being built. So you always have, from like a long-term perspective, you always have more investors that are able to come into the market than the investors that are already there. So you pretty much never run out of potential money coming in, and the better your charts look, chances are the more likely you are to have people coming in to speculate. So like, I don't need HOA, for an example, to go to like $50. I'll be all right if it only does a 5x. It's probably going to do more than a 5x from here, but I'll be all right with HOA if it only does a 5x from here. And I'm also creating these other assets so people can get, you know, maybe similar positions. We have an attention economy, so these new assets are very good for, you know, getting new folks in. It's also really good for getting our message out to those folks when they come in. And like, yeah, you'll thicken the liquidity, and maybe HOA has diminishing returns, but probably the next token I launch might do 1,000x in a day. You know, so it's like when you're actively competing with what the market demand is, you can kind of have your cake and eat it too, because you have the investors that were already there benefiting from the new investors coming in, but you also have the new investors getting those better positions that they would not be able to get buying the older assets. And then you just insulate all the liquidity. And then we teach them how to manage those positions and take the conservative approach so they don't have to dump. And then you can kind of be patient, you know, because you're taking the conservative route. You can be patient and still win. And you'll have more people win than lose, rather than, you know, like the trading mindset we're talking about, where some people win and more people lose. And it's really not a concern. I mean, how many people are actually in crypto compared to the amount of people who aren't? So if you really have a long-term mindset, it's nothing to worry about.
So let me follow up. I really, again, out of the meme space, anybody that launches a new token or something like that, I do feel it needs to come from Too Spooky or someone that's like kind of the top of the Tang gang. Like they represent the community for some amount of time. They've been in the Twitter spaces. They're obviously all over the timeline. So I do trust that a lot more than anybody else that replicates. But my question is, I asked Stylo recently on Monect, go support Stylo. Monect is good for him and good for the community, I think, about the launch mechanics. So anybody can come up with a contract address. Anybody can go to Twitter and say, fuck it, let's do this, and launch whatever the token meme name is and attach a JPEG. Anybody can do that. What separates launching a token, whether it's $6 worth of liquidity and now it's launched, or whether it's now it's thick liquidity and everybody likes it or participates? Like, how can you explain launch mechanics that are less likely, at least less, to be sniped, a high percentage grabbed by a bot, or, you know, someone malicious to the gang or malicious to the ecosystem?
So let me start off with this. So I think I get a lot of credit for the success of, you know, the tokens I launch, which I think more people are trusting to get into something just because I launch it. But it's not like I'm the one, pumping it, you know, hundreds of thousands of X's. It's the community, it's the Tang gang that makes these assets so wonderful. And, you know, it's not just the name of the Tang gang, but it's the education and the principles that they stand on. So usually the people who are, or a majority of the people who are aping into my coins on day one is the Tang gang, and they're there for the same reasons they aped into the first token or the 10th, you know. So it's the community that is giving these assets such wonderful charts that aren't dying. The other thing is, one of the things that I teach is picking your liquidity pairs a little bit more carefully rather than just launching in like Pulse. One of the things the snipers do is they load up wallets with like the quote unquote core coins, because it's the routing bias. You usually get tokens launched in that. Statistically speaking, if you're going to snipe a pair, it's going to be paired in Pulse, or it's going to be paired with PulseX or Hex or something like that. So they'll load up the wallets that with the tokens most people have. And when you're not launching in those pairs, it makes it a little bit more costly or a little bit more difficult to snipe something else. So I usually only launch in exotic pairs. And it's not necessarily like I'm just trying to pump a coin. It's a defensive mechanism to prevent snipers. Another thing that we do is using the higher fee tiers on 9mm. If you are going to snipe my token, and I do have it paired with a token the community is already holding, you're essentially paying the pump tax. So if you're going to snipe, you're paying the entire community. And it goes both ways. So as soon as you go in, as soon as you go out, you're probably paying a lot of fees, especially if you're coming in from Pulse and you're trying to get into a token that has to run through an exotic pair first. Most people don't set their gas and slippage high enough to pay that many fees to try to snipe a token in the first, 30 seconds. So we're very defensible on those ends. Another thing we do, and it's like this is part of the reason why the community comes off so viciously on the timeline, is because when you are able to identify value extractors and you kind of, kick them out of the community, or at least put a bad taste in their mouth, they're probably not going to buy your tickers. So when I'm launching tokens that you might want to snipe, but you're not going to buy any of the other tickers that I might be making the pair with, you're probably going to be late to the show, which means the people who are actually, practicing what they preach inside the tank gang, they're probably going to be able to get the token before you. And so since the tank gang itself has the better practices for keeping these tokens alive, they're the ones that usually get the biggest bags because they're the ones that have my notifications turned on, and they're dealing with a barrage of shit posts and tweets where, they're ready to rip their hair out, but they want to get the next CA. They're the ones that are going to be protecting the chart, because we kind of have the door wide open with the welcome sign in, whereas people who are blocking me, they're probably going to have to wait for someone to directly share the CA to them. So it's multi-layered, but those are all the ways to kind of protect your community and keep an asset alive, is by, again, ensuring that the community that likes keeping their assets alive are the ones getting in.
So I actually have
Very
a
cool.
follow-up to that, if I can, real quick. And this is one, if anybody has notifications turned on for Too Spooky and has a bot set to that, and any bot in the world that can sift through the anime and the shit posting for a contract address, they deserve to snipe that token. It's so hard. The guy tweets so much. My phone is constantly going off. It's ridiculous. I will say this, kind of back to the original beginning to your question there, Gary, about people that are launching tickers. And I give this warning to people all the time, whether you're a friend of mine or somebody I just met. Every time you launch something new on the blockchain, it is a dilution of provenance. Okay. Every single time you take that chance, whether it's a contract, a project, it doesn't matter. It is a dilution of provenance. Now, that dilution can have a positive result. It can have a negative result. That's why I always make the joke to people like, oh, you had a lot of high provenance. Now you have less. Hope that token goes to 1 million. Because if it doesn't, that token you launch, it only takes one bad launch, one bad project, and that's all you're known as forever. It doesn't matter how good your history is. It doesn't matter what's already recorded on the blockchain. If Too Spooky was launching rugs, there's not a single person that would have a bullish aspect on Spooky's next launch. Same with me. Same with the captain. Same with Gary. Like, the provenance carries over everything. If you have a token that gets overly sniped at rugs, it goes to 0. That's all you're going to be known as. I don't care if you've been in crypto for 4 years. You've been grinding your ass off. You've been working. You've done everything right. You slip up one time and you have a bad token launch. And whether it's greed, whether it's ignorance, whether it's a shit draw of the luck, you have one bad launch, and that's what you're known as. And it's on the blockchain forever. So I always tell people, if you think you have a good idea, you better make damn sure, because you are constantly diluting your brand, your provenance. If Spooky was launching shitcoin after shitcoin that was going 50K to 0, there's no one that's going to have Too Spooky's notifications on. There's no one that's going to listen to me shit posting. There's no one that's going to care if Gary Woods was out here throwing up CAs that were going to 0 every 5 minutes. No one give a shit what Gary had to say. Never dilute the brand. Whether it's internally, whether you're representing something bigger, never dilute the brand, never dilute your provenance. That's my recommendation to everybody joining crypto.
100. I agree. It is the scariest thing to even think about getting involved with, a crypto, and not because the fucking community comes after anybody who does anything, but like you said, you're on the blockchain forever, man. This is like this. That's your name. Everything that you've built, anything that you've done, anybody that's ever listened to you, you're on the line. You put yourself on the line, and it's think twice before you do it. It's not for the faint of heart. My shit.
Well,
my
that
DM
is why it's a lot of avatars and JPEGs and PFPs that nobody knows. That is what's attractive about no repercussion, and that's different than the people on stage. Like, to me, that's different. I respect a lot of what Orange GUI has done over the years. His 7 or 8 different names he's been over the years. But I respect the energy he puts into something, the outreach that he puts into something. I respect that because he has history. So I listen when he says things. I don't like everything he says, but I listen because he has provenance, he has history, and he has expertise in a niche that 99% of us that pretend we're in crypto don't have.
I had a quick question. Now, as all these tokens are being provided with LP and things like that, as the top of the market comes, more and more people pull out of LP to take profits or whatnot. Won't that cause the price to slip up quicker and then crash faster? Or what would that look like?
Yeah, so if people were thinning the liquidity, it would increase volatility, but at the same time, this is one of the things I said earlier. Say someone had like 5% of the supply and they were cashing out throughout the cycle top. When you do hit that cycle top and they pull their LP, they're no longer holding 5% of the supply because they took the route that was going to give them passive income, that was going to be more conservative, but also more beneficial for their bags in the long run. There's a longer term mindset if you're providing liquidity for, to spread out over the entire cycle. And hopefully, I think we'll see a lot of people who have made so much money, passive income through to volatile assets going up into the right for the cycle, that they probably won't be dumping their entire positions like we usually see in a lot of assets. But they can increase the volatility by pulling their LPs and then selling the other side. They just shouldn't have as much as they would be if they bought, say, at the bottom of last year and then waited until 2025. They're not liquid holders. They're an LP and they're selling to the market, not on the market. So as you have an increasing token holder count that are buying their positions and also adding the LP, then it's more defensible than if they were just buying and holding and then waiting to sell the top. That's when you get like the maximum pain. But if you have a growing network and you have people who are buying and then providing LP rather than selling, it's significantly more defensible. So with one of the other things I do too is like these LPs that I launch and I burn, it's like my own money that I've made in crypto myself. Like Nanana was, I think it was 1,000 cream I put in that initial LP that I burned. And like for me, it's also the conservative approach because I figured, the community is willing to speculate on the assets and you have the bonded liquidity, the assets are probably going to go up. I already have, cream and pulse and I have cream and other LPs. So if the market is entering its economic mass and everything's going up, I don't mind losing the proportionate capital that I put in the initial LP to burn. That LP is burned and can't get rugged. So there's probably millions of dollars of LP right now that can't be sold. So you have a continually rising floor as the LP fees that are burnt can never be pulled, but they're also slowly siphoning off the supply by collecting fees that can never be claimed and sold. So while the network grows and while the volume grows, while people are lining up multiple different revenue streams, we'll probably see less pulling, we'll see less dumping, and we'll see a decently sized cushion where the price actually can't go down to.
As long as it's more of a handshake of LP if you exit out LP wise, and the new person that bought that, I guess, your LP position or whatever, as long as they hold, the market won't crash as fast.
Right. And so like this is again, this goes back into why it's actually been a net positive for me to launch so many other tokens and other people in the community launch other tokens, because you get people that are willing to toss something in because they'll get a bigger portion of the supply and they're more willing to do it because they're earlier. And so they'll get good portions and they're helping to pay everyone else that's already supporting the network in the first place. But they're also getting the education where they want to be liquidity providers now. They also want to be liquidity providers as well. So you'll have a long-term liquidity provider who's been here since August of 2023, and then you'll have someone who just came into PulseChain last week because they saw a dick with a butt, and now they are buying, you know, the tokens off of someone who already had an LP, and then they're making their own liquidity position, and now they're getting the passive income. So they're learning to take the conservative approach, and you know, they're understanding, or at least from their perspective, they're still seeing positive pressure in the market, and it's likely to trend up in their opinion. So they're willing to speculate on our teachings as well.
That's why I love this PulseChain. It's just everybody's bootstrapping their own thing and drawing attention to this chain any way they can, and onboarding whoever they can, even not even that's coming on camera or anybody. Like my local community, I try to do my best, but like they all still think I'm half nuts.
It's especially a lot of the stuff that's going on PulseChain. It's very different. 99% of crypto is buy low and sell high, and it's oversimplified to the point where it's practically broken. 10% of people make money, the other 90% lose money because they become the bag holders of the people that bought earlier. So then when you're trying to explain them the different things that are happening over here, even though it's basically painted to look the same, because like everyone thinks a meme coin is a meme coin, but it's like, if it has memes, are you sure? I mean, if it doesn't have memes, are it sure? Is it going to have any longevity if your community is not actually supporting it? You can't just buy a logo, you know? So it's like people come to PulseChain and they're actually saying something different. It's hard for them to recognize. So it is a little bit more difficult. So one of the things that I have been doing for my onboards is not really, you know, do moon math. I don't get them to I don't give them too many options when they're really new, because I don't want to give them any biases that are plaguing most of crypto right now. If I'm onboarding someone and they're actually willing to listen, immediately I put them in liquidity.
Twos, do you guys consider V2 liquidity providing at tops? Is that part of something that the Tang Gang does? Like, are you guys considering that for, you know, when we get towards the end of the bull market, for example, like buffeting that downside pressure? If you do some V2 liquidity, it's a little bit different to V3. Is that part of something you guys are talking about as well?
Not really. I do preach that the one benefit that like a burned V2 position has is basically perpetual compounding into the LP that can never be touched. So it has a rising cushion as well. But for individuals, the benefits of having a V3 position where you can actually get your passive income easily without having to try to do complicated math on your principal investment versus what was actually an earned fee. It's not very incentivizing for someone to actually hold the bag longer. Because if you have a position in V3, you can just claim your fees, you get the passive income, and it's, you know, it's actually really simple. I think what would be a better strategy, which is what I'm going to personally be doing, and this is what I'm hoping I can teach people in the community too, is to shift out of the volatile assets and shift into the more stable ones. So I think one of the strategies I'm going to try out, which I think it's going to work with a high degree of confidence, is shifting out from like a Pulse LP with, you know, a Tang Gang ticker to like a stablecoin LP and a Tang Gang ticker. And with the community all doing that together, it should create much better prices in a bear market than you know, everyone just panicking and dumping the chart 90%, you know, which probably wouldn't happen in the Tang Gang tickers anyway, since so much of the LP is insulated and burned. But I would want people to be able to still get passive income even if there is, you know, a downtrend. I don't want them to lose their positions and go back into the old mindsets where they're going to wait for 6 months and then try to buy a dip and it's not the bottom of the market, then wait another 6 months and like DCA down. I mean, you can if that's what you wanted to do, but I don't think it's the most effective strategy. I think just keeping your real estate positions in real estate, even if it's a correction for the next 2 years or whatever, is going to be more rewarding in the long run. And I'm hoping to show people that.
So when you're talking real estate, as far as a phrase kind of comparison, it really is kind of like 3 months of the year, you know, 1/4 of an entire year is your moneymaker. Like that is your cash flow. It's almost like a vacation home that's very seasonal. Like it's, you know, 3 months worth of a season. And that's when it's popular. This is when it's fully occupied. You're paying, people are paying a premium in order to be at that vacation property. And then you have basically 9 months, 8 or 9 months, the 3 years of a typical bear cycle kind of thing, where if you really do believe in the meme or the product or, the community, or just basically the founders say, I want to concentrate, I want to be a higher percentage, I want to effectively be an OA, I want to effectively be 80% of the supply during this bear, knowing that you're buying into falling dagger or whatever, right? It's going down. At least your psychology is, the group psychology is, these are 4-year cycles. That's the group psychology. Whether it continues to play out forever, I don't know. But that's the psychology. So is that how you're framing it? Is that, memes can be longer than 4 years, or product or community can last, cohesively longer than 4 years? That seems like what Richard was trying to do with Hex, is people are going to, hold for 15 years or hold through multiple bear and bulls. Is that the mentality you're putting on your contract addresses?
That's definitely part of it. So like I was, well, you weren't here for it. So like I said, utility and tokenomics and all that stuff, they're amplifiers to an already good product, but a product is only good if it has a good community. So at the end of the day, though they can have benefits, if you're focusing too much on the superficial things rather than the important parts, which is the community, you'll end up not actually building the community. So when you have a real community there, it's not like it disappears. Actual, practically dogmatic, religious, dedicated, we know we're right, we're about this, that lasts a long time. So that's definitely part of what the Tanging is about, that we're the first real community in crypto where we're actually practicing what we preach. It's not just, words in a tweet. We're actually here for the long run. The other part, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, people are still buying CryptoPunks because they were one of the first JPEGs on the Ethereum blockchain. Provenance over time. Memes are cool, but being one of the first memes that actually did something really cool and really different on a blockchain, on an L1, 4 or 5 years from now, the extended provenance, if everything the HOA and the Tangang is doing now is still around 4 years from now, it's undeniable. So you're taking a gamble on the culture shift of an entire blockchain over an extended period of time. That's why HOA stuck around for 9 months. It was a culture shift. It started out as what people would call a sub community, and now it's growing into being one of the most recognizable communities in PulseChain. Whether any of the outside factors, doesn't matter. I've had dozens and dozens and dozens of personal onboards that only know PulseChain through the Tangang. Multiple other blockchains that had, I have people in my DMs that say, I've never touched an EVM except for Cheaton. I've never touched an EVM except for no. I've never, now they're going through change now. They're not going through any of the traditional routes. They're literally just going from whatever coin they're on just to get into that meme. Because, dude, memes, we can go through cavemen were drawing memes on the walls. We can go through that entire lecture. But it's what the HOA and the Tangang is doing right now. It's taking the gamble on a culture shift on a blockchain that, like I talked about earlier, is on a slower trajectory than this blockchain should have. This blockchain should not be as cheap as it is. This blockchain should not be as hated on as it is. So you have these tokens that are doing great in a blockchain's bear market. Forget the rest of the market. Forget everything else is doing. These tokens are ripping and getting 100x on a blockchain that does 12 million in volume is insane. That is, it just doesn't compute. So when we inevitably get to the point where PulseChain is doing billions in volume a day, Where do you think the tokens that were doing positive numbers in the hard times are going to be? Where do you think the communities that were built in the hard times are going to be? That's the transcendence. That's the growth over time. You know, it's like I said, it's gambling on a potential culture shift in PulseChain. PulseChain can either be the 4 core or it can be everything else that's being built over here. You have to make that, you have to see that line in the sand, and you have to either go one way or the other. And either you have a good time, you look at a dick with butt and it makes you smile, or it makes you angry. Either way, you get a reaction. People are gambling on the provenance of whether you were on A or B. If you look at Cheaton, who has, I'll say, one, it's at an all-time high. Somebody told me I had to say that on stream. All-time high. I will, either way. Cheaton has the greatest SEO. Go tweet out or Google search Cheaton and see how many times that ad pops up in your feed. People are just gambling on whether these degenerates that are growing by the thousands monthly are going to have a lasting impact on the chain. They don't give a shit what the number is. They just don't. They don't give a shit what the number is going to be 6 months from now. If we all make money, hell yeah. If we don't, well, then we all just go to we just change PFPs and become a non-again.
I got a couple of things to say. First, community crypto.
Hold on, Captain. I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I?
Yeah,
in
I have.
1 second, fellas? Can I just jump in? I just want to say goodbye to you guys. I got to get out, do some work. Mass respect to you all, and I just want to leave with one final comment. It's going to be very interesting to see how everything performs in the bear market with all this liquidity providing in the cultures that are happening on PulseChain. I think that's going to be one of the most bullish things for us. From going from a Hex, which was 99.9% down, to a blockchain, which we'll never see those kinds of bear markets. So I think that's going to be a very interesting future. So mass respect to you all, guys. I'm going to jump on and listen from now while I do my work. Take care.
Take care.
Yes.
Yeah, so just to add on to what I was saying before, the other point I wanted to make. So before I was basically saying, yeah, we have this mindset and we're kind of showing that, you know, we're practicing what we preach, and this is probably the right way to do it. So everyone is winning to, you know, a good degree versus just some people. The other thing, though, is actually setting up the structure so that people are actually able to reap the benefits. So like I'm going to use Hex as an analogy. This is not to criticize it, though, but I think part of the problem with when it comes to the psychological aspect of staking Hex is that you can't actually get your yield. So you're like literally sitting there and like you're depressed until your stake is due. Not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but, you know, people behave very differently than what's typically, like, you can say the right way. So just like I was saying to Steven before he left, the reason why I would still advocate for like a V3 position versus a V2 position is because you get some reward on the side, regardless if you have high volume or extremely high prices, you have some type of reward there. So we're setting up a system with all these new token launches, having the bonded liquidity with the safer community. We have the homies collections coming out that's going to be able to like lock HOA into a smart contract, but it's going to have a royalty pool or revenue share from other NFT creators who are willing to share their creator royalties with the royalty pool. Something I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to have a collection come out, and instead of just me getting the royalties, I will be sharing the royalties with the homie NFT holders. The 9mm part of one of the things that we loved about 9mm so much is instead of just only doing buy and burn, 50% of the protocol revenue goes to the stakers of 9mm, which is just another passive revenue stream. So on top of having this messaging here for the long term, so people can maximize their benefits and kind of like protect themselves by working together, we also want to put into place the incentives for them to do so, not just have the messaging, but also the incentives.
Nice. On that note, Hex is a different tool. It's a different type of tool. And you're right. It's not for somebody who's looking to move money and make money off of it on a regular basis as a form of income. It's a, it's a long-term asset class, like a CD that, you know, people spend 15, 20, 30 years saving for it to pull out on a later date. Different type of tool. Now, because DeFi is here, we can make all these other tools. And now with the advent of DEXs, we can all provide liquidity and be part of that that asset class value generation. Another thing, I do believe that I was one of the first people to help create a community. And although I preached all of these things and tried to get people to be responsible, liquidity to provide, get out of their positions properly, not a lot listened. You guys have done a much better job of getting people to listen to you and getting people to abide by what those tenets and rules and things are that make this place a better place. So my hat is definitely off to you guys for doing such a good job at creating a community that is actually in lockstep with one another, doing the right things, which is, you know, one of the tenets that Richard Hart has always been talking about is you know, hey, you guys go out there and take care of one another, take care of the assets, and be a responsible investor, you know, get in and out of positions. Don't do these stupid things. And it's the stupid things we were talking about earlier, the moving of assets from one asset class to another, just chasing the dragon, you know, and we all know, for those of you in the street world, we all know what chasing the dragon means. And that's what a lot of people do in this space. And it creates problems for everything. It's like that asshole who doesn't know how to play poker. And because he doesn't, he screws up the whole hand for everybody, you know, it's that dude that's fucking this whole thing up for all of us. And I hate that. You're sitting there playing poker and everybody's supposed to be playing the right way. But the one guy just keeps screwing shit up, you know, because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So guys, thanks for coming. And I really appreciate this conversation. Spooky for coming on. You know, I've always had affinity for you. You're always welcome here. I appreciate the Tang Gang coming and having a conversation. And even Gary sitting in the middle of all of this after I've watched them, you know, wipe their asses with him on Twitter and everywhere else. And Gary, come on, bro. How many? We've been around the world together watching people freaking blast on you. So it's nothing new, right?
Gary's been a good sport.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle. Oh man. But
get on the next. Do the next.
And DJ and Waffle, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate seeing you. Brightlight, I didn't even really introduce you. Thanks for coming yourself. Anybody got any last things to say before I shut this down and go get some snacks or sit in my jacuzzi or something?
We just need to be agreeable and let's move together, get this chain moving any which way we can, inside, outside of crypto. I'm trying the locals near me, educating them as best I can, one by one. So
let's be sure we're doing it right, though. You know, the Tang Gang has something here that I think everybody and this stream and Gary and the people around him, it's one thing to onboard people and promote the chain. It's another thing to bring people in and educate them to do the right things. Again, like I said, that bad poker player. Let's make everybody good poker players. Let's just not tell everybody to go provide liquidity. I was one of the first people to say, shut up. Don't start yelling how lucrative and good liquidity providing is until you're teaching them how to do it.
I wait for them to ask me questions.
Exactly. You know, we need educated people here doing things. If you're just onboarded, great. Come in, but start learning. Lean into these things. Go to these free seminars and things. You know, things that don't cost you a whole bunch, and learn before you start burning shit.
I'll definitely send them that way.
One thing I love, whether it's Gooey or me or Too Spooky or Bullish, like one constant theme is like, look, if you don't know what you're doing and you're in a good position, the best thing you could do is just do nothing. Don't allow yourself to overthink. Don't allow yourself to overtrade. Don't allow yourself to overposition or underscale or stress. Sometimes the best thing to do is to just do your research and do nothing. My last words, if I can have one, is simply, cheat down, baby. Let's fucking go. I don't understand how I got here. I clicked a link. I
don't know either, man. Who let this fucking guy in anyway?
RG3, it's always a pleasure. Spooky, you're the autistic Satoshi. Brightlight, you're pretty cool. And Gary, I'll catch you on the next one.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Let me add one thing. Make a meme.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
That's it. Just make a meme.
Make a meme, guys. Make a meme. Or go build a badass token that does a 10,000x, 100x my ass. Do a 10,000x. Yeah, baby. All right, everybody. Have a good one. We'll see you on the next one.